52 hours. You're on the way down. Getting close. By the end of the show, you'll be under 50, which will be nice. Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, as always presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where, hey, you know what Thursday means? Get in the draw, a grand day for the next 20 years. Not bad at all. Totals about 7.2 mil. So if you want in, go to playalberta.ca. You can also get involved and get in on the NBA, which, hey, you need to watch some sports. You're like, oh, my goodness, I need some big games. Well, you got the NBA Finals tipping off tonight. The Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. So Dallas was hoping to have two teams in the finals. Edmonton said no, thank you. As the Oilers are in their 8th Stanley Cup final, the Florida Panthers will drop the puck on their 3rd. Edmonton, of course, 5-2 in their first 7 trips. Florida is 0-2. In the playoffs, Edmonton's played 18 games, or 12-6. Florida's played 17. They are 12-5. The Oilers have scored more goals. Obviously, Florida has allowed fewer goals. Edmonton has an advantage on the power play, slight advantage on the penalty kill. Both penalty kills have been good. And in fact, Florida, I would argue, 5-on-5, and there's an article up at OilersNation.com. 5-on-5, Edmonton, if you look at the 3 teams they faced, LA, Dallas, and Vancouver, I would say at 5-on-5, Edmonton's had a much tougher road to get here. On special teams, I would say Florida has faced a overall tougher competition. Because if you look at Florida themselves, so in the regular season, Florida was 26th in 5-on-5 goals, but they were first in 5-on-5 goals against. They scored 156. They only allowed 120. So they finished up at plus 36 in goal for goals against differential 5-on-5, which was 5th best in the NHL. Tampa Bay was 14th in goals for, 28th in goals against. They were 25th. They were minus 18 5-on-5. The New York Rangers were plus 2. They were 16th. And then Boston was probably the best team, 5-on-5. Well, definitely the best team. They were plus 39, 4th overall. They were 12th in offense, 3rd in goals against. So the average of those 3, they're basically 15th in goals for, 15th in goals against, and 15th in goal for differential at 5-on-5. Edmonton's 3 opponents. LA was 20th in offense, 5th in defense, and were plus 23, which was a 10th best goal for goals against. Dallas, 4th most goals scored, 12th goals against. They were 7th at plus 31 in goal for goal against differential. Vancouver, 5th in goals for, 4th in goals against, plus 51. They were 2nd. If you're wondering where the Oilers were, they were plus 40. They were 3rd. So them in Florida, very similar. Now, Edmonton scored more goals in Florida. Florida allowed fewer goals than Edmonton, 5-on-5. But the quality of oppositions 5-on-5, even if you want to go to expected goals, right? If you're going on expected goals, Tampa was minus 6. The Rangers were minus 6. Boston was even. They averaged goals, expected goals for 20th between the 3 of them, 15th in expected goals against, and 19th in combined expected goal for, goal against differential. The Oilers' opponents, they were 10th in expected goals for, 5th in expected goals against, and 5th in expected goal for against differential, excuse me. The Oilers, by the way, 1st in expected goals for, goals against. They were 1st in goals for, 9th in goals against, but had the best overall differential. The Florida Panthers were 5th again. So when you go, if you're a big fan of expected goals, which I think in the regular season, a bigger sample size, it can give you a little bit more insight. In the playoffs, I think it's kind of useless, to be honest. It's too small of a sample size, right? Luck plays even more part of it. Any analytics guy who's worth their salt will tell you the same thing. Now, special teams, a little bit different. Florida's power play, they were 8th in the regular season at 23.5, and they were 6th on the penalty kill at 82.5. So solid special teams in the regular season. But the teams they faced, Tampa Bay had the best regular season power play. The Rangers had 3rd best, and Boston was 14th. And then on the penalty kill, Tampa was 5th, Boston was 6th, and the Rangers were 3rd. So those are three really solid penalty kill teams and some pretty good power play teams. The Panthers overall average their opponents 6th on the power play, 5th in the penalty kill. So pretty darn good. Then you look at the Oilers. They were 4th on the power play themselves. They were 15th on the PK. They had a brutal start. And you don't really recover. LA 12th on the power play, 2nd on the PK. Vancouver 11th on the power play, 17th on the PK. And Dallas was 6th on the power play, 8th on the penalty kill. So their guys ranked a little bit higher, 10th on the power play overall and 9th on PK. Right? So then, now you can use special teams numbers in the playoffs. It's pretty straightforward. It's direct. Edmonton's power play, 37.3%. Florida's 23.3%. Now, Florida did go up against teams that had a better penalty kill. Now, LA had a good one, and the Oilers waxed them. Right? So I'm not going to completely discount Edmonton. Their power play is still better. And even though their penalty kills been that good, you can make the argument that Florida and who they faced, at least it's close. Right? Like very close. And here's the other thing, because everybody's talking about, well, Florida, can they be disciplined? How about that Florida, in their first 3 rounds of the postseason, they have had 60 power plays, and they have been shorthanded 51 times. So they're +9. Boston in that series alone took 28 penalties. Florida was only 16. Right, so that series basically weighs out everything. They're even pretty close against Tampa. They're even in power plays for against the Rangers. And they only average 2.5 power plays per game. Penalty kill per game. Right? So they're pretty disciplined. They're physical, yes, but they're more disciplined. Boston was the team that wasn't disciplined in that series. They took 28 penalties, for goodness sakes. Heck, the Oilers against Dallas and LA combined only had 26. So Edmonton's penalty kill has been great. They'll need it to continue to be great. They have an advantage on the power play. I think the penalty kill is pretty even, but we'll see how can Florida handle the Oilers' power play, because we know it's just different, right? LA had the second best PK all year long, and 3 years in a row the Oilers have spanked them in the postseason on the power play, right? Like last year they were actually over 50%, for goodness sakes. So to me, that's a big one. The other one hits, physicality. There's no debate. Florida's been a more physical team. The Edmonton-Dallas series wasn't that physical. I think this will ratchet it up. I don't think Edmonton's intimidated at all by the physicality of the series. I think they'll be fine with it, but it will be different. You do adjust, right? Like maybe you don't have as much time to make plays. You're going to have to make plays under pressure. The Oilers got some, Bouchard, Ekholm, they can move the puck, right? Nurse is going to have to be accurate on his outlet passing. There's no doubt about it. Broberg, maybe where he comes in even more. So we'll see. But all I'll say is I keep reading everything about Florida, and I understand it. They're good. But some people don't take a few minutes to research. They dominated the Rangers. Well, of course they dominated the Rangers. The Rangers were maybe the worst playoff team at 5-on-5 in the regular season. They were +2 overall. They weren't any better than expected, so it wasn't like they just couldn't score. They weren't good all year 5-on-5. No one should be surprised that Florida dominated them 5-on-5. That's why I picked them to win the series. Right? And then Florida shut down their power play. Killed off 14 of 15. But Edmonton's been a really good 5-on-5 team all year long. So it will be a tougher test for the Panthers against the Oilers. Make no mistake. Florida, they've had some good special teams, while Edmonton has good special teams. None of the teams they faced were a dominant team 5-on-5, but the Oilers are. And that's why this is a very close series. And it should be. It should be fun. I look forward to it. We'll get your thoughts. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, give me a break. Florida took the most penalties in the league. If the refs call the games like they should, Edmonton should get a minimum of 3 to 4 a game. If they let Florida run around like they let the Canucks and try to injure our star players, and we'll be in trouble. How bad does Bettman want to keep the cup out of Canada? We'll see. Cal, is Vancouver in Canada? I think they are. Right? Edmonton took 23 penalties in that series. I don't recall. I'm sorry. I watched every minute of the Vancouver series. You just said they should have 3 power plays a game. Well, they did. What do you want, 5? I didn't see a bunch of gross misses game in and game out. Don't be Vancouver, Cal. Stop whining about the officials. And I just showed you that Florida, who cares about the regular season? There's 3 rounds of the playoffs where Florida isn't taking a lot of penalties. And if you watch the series, I didn't see a lot of misses. You can be physical and you can hit. Doesn't mean you're going to take penalties. That's what they did against the Rangers. Right? We saw it. I didn't see many Ranger fans complaining. Right now, the Bruins fans were because their team was taking too many penalties. They took 28. But don't be like Vancouver. Right? They complain about officials all the time. They got super thin skin. You know, they love to send messages, derogatory ones to Luke Gazdic. Then he bites back and they're all like, oh, you can't say that. You can't call us losers. Well, the people that were doing it, if you're sending someone a direct message derogatory, I'm sorry. You individually are a loser. Doesn't mean the whole fan base is. It means the individual sending it is a loser. And the only thing that's worse is people trying to say, well, he should lose his job because it called someone a loser. Well, first of all, I didn't call it to anybody. Said, hey, losers, your team's out. That's what he said. So, boo-hoo. But don't be Vancouver, Cal. That's all I'll say. People, if you start worrying about the officials, because keep in mind, you watch the game with a bias towards the Oilers, as you should. They're your team. But don't forget that. Not every hit against your team is a penalty. Not every trip is a penalty. It's just not. I didn't see a lot of blatant missed calls against Dallas, and I didn't see a lot of breakdown missed calls against Vancouver. I didn't. The Oilers have proven they don't need their power play to win. It can sure help. But the series was 2-2 against Dallas, and Edmonton didn't have a power play goal. They don't need their power play to win. Because guess what? You can't just win with the power play. The Rangers just found that out. They couldn't score 5-on-5 like all year long. And guess what? Their power play got shut down against the Panthers, and they were done. So the Oilers, trust me, they know that they're a better team 5-on-5. And we'll see. Hey, guys, that's a great breakdown of the of those other teams. I'm always curious how the other teams look. What about the those numbers in the playoffs? Well, it's tough about the playoffs. Well, obviously, both Florida and Edmonton have outscored their opposition. That's why they're here, right? They both won the 5-on-5 battle. Edmonton scored the most goals 5-on-5 in the playoffs. Florida has allowed the fewest per game. They're being very good. So that's going to be a battle here. There's no question. And, Edmonton allowed more goals 5-on-5 in the postseason so far, but they also played against teams who were better 5-on-5 teams. So I would kind of expect it. And the fact that Edmonton was able to score against those teams 5-on-5 is good because Florida defensively has been excellent 5-on-5. Excellent. So that's going to be the challenge. I love it. 833-401-1440 coming up on the show today. We've hey man, it's a busy Thursday. I love it. Ryan Kennedy will join us. We'll talk a little basketball with Ben Cricky. We'll talk some Stingers, also the NBA tip-off. We'll have Carius, Nick Kiprios will be by. We got Spec. Also, I had a one-on-one with Brett Kulak before the Oilers jumped on the plane to Florida today. Actually, I spoke to him yesterday. And, I was very curious about a guy who has been in the NHL for as long as Kulak has. When was the last time? Like, his takes the odd shift. But the last time he started a game, finished the game on right wing, how about never in the NHL? Never in junior. He's been on the left side the whole time. And make no mistake, it's not just as easy as you think. But it was intriguing what he said the biggest challenge was for him to getting accustomed to playing on the right side. So we'll talk to Kulak about that. TR will be by, joins us in studio. Also, I know many of you will be heading down to the Elks 75th celebration tonight. It's sold out. It's at the Shaw. And I think there's like close to 1,300 people or something going. They'd be the most ever green and gold alumni in the room. And we'll see where they go. Should be a lot of fun tonight. Cons, you're wearing a tie tonight even.
I was told we had to.
Yes.
Can you not wear a tie tonight? Is that an option?
No, I don't think it is.
Yeah, I got a tie.
Business formal. That means a tie.
Not my forte, but I saw Declan roll in. He looked like he was playing in the Stanley Cup final tonight. He's looking sharp. You got the suit going. I will change in, and I did bring a tie for the occasion. I'm looking forward to it, Gregor. What is this, 4-course meal? We got an alumni at the table. They're going to be all around. It's going to be a great time.
That should be a lot of fun. It's kind of the kickoff to the season for the Elks. They got the event tonight, and then they got some things going on tomorrow, and then of course Saturday with the season opener. And hey, let's be honest, and not only that, I think there's going to be an ownership change during the season. I know they're down to 2, maybe 3 finalists to see who's going to be the next owner of the Elks. So they'll go from a nonprofit kind of community-owned organization. Legally, it's a nonprofit, not-for-profit, I should say, not-for-profit. And so because people have asked this question, well, Gregor, what do they sell the price for? I think the actual sale of the franchise will be like $1, because who do you give the money to? But it's more so, okay, so you have that, but then you have to inherit all these costs, right? And there's going to be a commitment in what they're going to put back in moving forward, right? Because they don't want someone to buy the team and it's done. They're having someone buy the team because essentially when the Oilers were owned by the EIG, they would have cash calls when things were tough, and they had multiple cash calls at different times. And the owners, they buck up. But you don't have anybody currently under this plan who can do that. And they need an influx of cash. So my understanding, there's one group it's an individual. There's another group of 8 to 10, maybe a little bit more, but I think probably right in around that 8 to 10 range. And there can't 100% confirm. I think there might be another group in, but I think it's kind of 2 groups that are the leaders right now. And, it's just going to come down to, Rick LaLacheur, and then the board will, obviously they're doing, deep dive, do their due diligence. Probably going to be some sort of interview, I would hope. And away you go. So there's obviously been lots of communication at this point, and, exchanging of plans and their ideas. And I would expect this to close at some point during the year. Now, I've been told, I can't get official, I've been told, like, when people try to compare it to the EIG, the difference was the EIG, there wasn't like a set deadline. All they had to prove with the deal was if they had a group who was willing to do it, then Pauken couldn't sell to Les Alexander. Just couldn't do it. In this case, I think there's a little bit more of a deadline put in, so I don't know if that will hinder one of the groups or not. We'll see. But I think it'll be important. I could easily see this being something that we saw it in Saskatchewan, right? Like, they had a real big drive to keep the Riders. They were on thin ice for a while, came back and became really strong. And I have no doubt in my mind that the green and gold will be strong once again. But you're going to have good leadership at the top. I don't care what your business is. Anybody out there who runs a business will tell you the best businesses usually have good leadership at the top. And then good leaders hire really good staff. That's what they're going to need to do. Quick break. We'll come back, talk some hockey, basketball, and football here on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10-plus odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at PlayAlberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XT60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit FemaleSuperLeague.com.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
Try the new extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra-large New York-style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now. The extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza for just $22.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
And I'm Zach Hyman.
And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes,
or having my goals disallowed,
we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You know, guys used to call me a plumber.
And now they call you an AC repairman.
Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hey Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
An accident. And it wasn't your fault.
How can I access funds for treatment?
What if I have to change jobs?
How do I even figure out how much my claim is worth?
What if my car is a write-off?
Is there funding for help with the housework?
It feels like no one has my back.
Robinson LLP does. Visit RobinsonLLP.com to find your injury lawyer. Robinson LLP, the recovery team.
The Adventure Calls event is on at GMC. Get the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation at 0% financing for up to 60 months. Plus, eligible Costco members can receive a $1,200 bonus on select trucks. With Sierra's available 5.3-liter V8 engine plus more cargo bed volume than any competitor, you'll have everything you need to take on any project this season, like building a brand new doghouse. That's a lot of wood. How big is this dog? Visit your local GMC dealer for details.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready.
Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
We freaking killed it, Nuge.
That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah, well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Continue on a lovely Thursday afternoon. Welcome back to the Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Oilers are landing in Florida probably within the next half an hour, and then they will be ready to roll. So get off the plane, relax, have dinner. Tomorrow is media day, and then they will get set for the game on Saturday, we'll see. Will Evander Kane take a twirl tomorrow on the ice? We'll find out because they do have a practice time scheduled tomorrow. Let's go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, where, hey, right now at McDonald's, if you like some breakfast before 11 o'clock, you get the Egg McMuffin, a hash brown, a small coffee for only $5, or maybe you're just looking for a little afternoon enjoyment. Get the Grimace Shake right now, only at McDonald's. As we are joined by Ryan Kennedy from the Hockey News. And Ryan, the Stanley Cup Finals upon us, and the Florida Panthers are back in it. The Oilers, first time in 18 seasons. The two teams who have played the most playoff games the last 3 years. So maybe it's fitting. I don't see much separating these two teams. I guess someone's got to be a favorite. That's fine. I don't think it's nearly the advantage that some are claiming for Florida. Where do you come out?
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this because you have an incredible defensive team in the Panthers, an incredible offensive team in the Oilers. But for me, the tiebreaker is Edmonton's got McDavid. And you get this far and the cup is so close, I just don't see him being stopped eventually. I think it's going to be a tight series. I think it's going to be a tough series. But if I needed a tiebreaker, it's number 97 looking at his first Stanley Cup championship.
And that's fair, right? I understand. Like, history will tell us that the cream rises to the top, as they say. And, McDavid is at the top, and he's at the top of the leaderboard. Draisaitl's there, Bouchard's there. The Gustav Forsling factor for me is I'm rather intrigued by. He's been excellent for them. Warren Fogle, former teammate of his, said the guy's an absolute freak off the ice. Like, his conditioning is top shelf. It goes, guy can play forever. So, I'm kind of curious to see, because everybody talks about Barkov, but when I actually looked at the minutes played, Forsling's played way more against Zibanejad, way more against Pasternak, and way more against Kucherov, him and Aaron Ekblad. So I think that's going to be more of the matchup than it is McDavid and Barkov.
Yeah, and, it's interesting. I'll say right there, I totally agree with you. The Forsling-Ekblad combo has been incredible the whole playoffs for the Panthers, and they do have that great structure. They're great on the penalty kill. We've seen Edmonton has been incredible on the penalty kill. But I go back, I'm in Florida right now, but I am Toronto based. And I go back to when McDavid was with the Erie Otters in the OHL. And when they got upset by Oshawa in the playoffs, in which, we all thought was going to be McDavid's year to win the OHL championship, it wasn't just Cole Castles up front. It was Dakota Mermis and Josh Brown, now in the NHL, two older, stronger defensemen that really spent a lot of time making sure McDavid couldn't wind up in his own end, because that's when he's at his most deadly, because he's so fast and he's so skilled and he's so creative. That bogging down was enough that Oshawa was able to take out the Otters. So you look at the Panthers, and they're great at disruption. And I think that's going to be one of the big X factors in this series, is which team gets to impose its will, its strategy of play on the other. Does it become a quick series because one team figures it out? Or does it go back and forth because we'll see that kind of war of attrition, if you will, strategically?
Yeah. No, I think it will be fascinating. There's nothing left, right? Teams, everybody knows they lay it out on the line here. There's not, we got to finish it so we can get some rest. There's no more rest. Both teams, the good news is this extended break between the conference final and the final, I think, has allowed teams to get as healthy as they possibly can. Paul Maurice said, our team's as healthy as you could ever get at this time of year. So, the Oilers, obviously, Kane has a little bit of a nagging injury. Is there one thing, like you mentioned, excluding McDavid factor, what do you feel is the key for the Oilers to win the series, and then conversely for Florida?
Well, I would say the Oilers have a couple of X factors, but the one that I'll hone in on is Stuart Skinner. Obviously fantastic against Dallas, bit of a roller coaster earlier in the playoffs. The Florida Panthers are the type of team that, because they have Bobrovsky in net, and because they have that great defensive structure, they are, more than happy to play 2-1, 2-0 hockey games all series long. So for the Oilers, they need the current Stuart Skinner. The Stuart Skinner we just saw, if he can continue on that role, then they're going to put themselves in a great position because, again, you have that lethal power play. You have that high end led by McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Bouchard, coming in from the back end. So I think Skinner's going to be huge because if he can play up to the level of Bobrovsky, then the Oilers definitely have a great chance. If we see a Skinner who struggles, that's going to be trouble. For Florida, I really think it comes down to discipline because this is a team that they got a lot of players that you hate to play against. It's not just Matthew Tkachuk, like it's Sam Bennett, Ryan Lomberg. If Nick Cousins gets in the lineup, guys like that where it's just they're not fun to play against, but sometimes they go over the line and they can take penalties that they shouldn't. So if that happens for Florida, we know what the Oilers are going to do with that man advantage, and that could tilt the ice in their favor.
Ryan Kennedy joins us. Ryan, you look at Florida and back-to-back, which first of all doesn't happen very often, right?
No.
Pittsburgh was the one team who lost the first year and then came back and won in 8 and 9, and the Oilers in 83 and 84. But that's it. And then the only other team was Boston, who went back-to-back after not winning the first one, but they lost the second one. So, the fact that the Panthers even got back here is pretty impressive. Historically, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and I'll admit, like coming into this season, when we were doing our predictions, I didn't have the Panthers in the playoffs. Even though they were in the final, like they were a broken team. Like Matthew Tkachuk, his broken sternum. They were going to start off the year without Ekblad, without Montour. Montour was incredible in the playoffs last year in particular. I just figured, it's a short summer when you get all the way to the final. You don't get that adrenaline boost of winning it all. And then you got to go back and maybe you're not fully mended, but I mean, full marks to the Panthers. They made some tweaks that turned out to work pretty well, bringing in a reclamation project like Oliver Ekman-Larsson, for example. And then you get, continued growth from Anton Lundell, and that really helps. And then of course, like Tkachuk, I thought he would have to take some time off. Turns out not so much. And they kept rolling. They've clearly established something elite under Paul Maurice, and they've just kept it going. So full marks to them.
Yeah, they've been quite good. What do you make of do you think, Maurice has coached like 1,700 and whatever games it is more than Knobloch? Yet Knobloch in his first year as a coach in the playoffs has not looked frazzled at all. He's made tough decisions. He's made, lineup changes after wins or losses, and they all seem to be working. Where do you come out on, do you think coaching matters at this time of year in the Cup final?
In this particular case, I don't think it's going to be a big factor because these teams know how they want to play. Like if Florida decided to all of a sudden become a run and gun squad, that's probably not going to be, a successful recipe for them. They're a team that blots out the middle of the ice. They have skill guys for sure, but like I said before, they're completely happy playing low scoring games. I think with Knobloch, he does have high-end championship experience going back to his junior days with a couple of different teams. We all love Paul Maurice's, press scrums.
Oh, they've been great.
And, the players have loved him his entire coaching career. He's never won though. He's come close, but he's never won. Once you do it, then it's like you're there for history. John Tortorella, he's a Stanley Cup winner. You can't take that away from him. But Maurice hasn't won yet. So this would be a huge feather in his cap to actually go over the top with a team. But I think it's a pretty neutral thing at this point because everybody knows what they need to do.
Ryan Kennedy from the Hockey News joined us. Ryan, some other news around the league. When you look at the other teams, because there are only 2 teams left, everybody else is kind of waiting. And the way the Stanley Cup is set up, like most people think this is going to go at least 6 games, which is June 21st. And if it goes 7, it's June 24th. And then the draft is like 5 days later. So are there any other stories around the league that you are watching this month that you are expecting to maybe unfold between now and July 1st?
Well, I think the lead up to July 1st is going to be interesting because you get some of those big names that are sort of rumored on the market, whether it's, Mitch Marner in Toronto, or, you see Nikolai Ehlers' name, being bandied about by fans in Winnipeg. What's his long-term future going to be like? So that's interesting because, we have to keep in mind too that this draft is the last of an era where you have everybody from all the teams gathering in one place. Next year it's going to go to that new format where most of the staff are going to stay in their own cities. So what we've seen, I would say, in the past decade or so in particular, is that the draft had at one point become kind of the second trade deadline. Now with the salary cap and everything, it calmed down a bit. I don't think we had any trades on the first day last year, if I'm not mistaken. But I wonder, do we see a big move either at the draft or in the days leading up to it, because you do have July 1st right around the corner?
Yeah. Well, Mitch Marner traded before July 1st?
I don't think so, but it'll certainly get a lot of ink. We'll get a lot of stories out of it.
Yeah, okay, fair. Ryan, enjoy Florida. Put some sunscreen on.
Indeed, I will. Thanks for having me.
There you go. That's Ryan Kennedy from the Hockey News. As of course, a lot of media people getting in today. They have a media day tomorrow and the game on Saturday. Many people wondering, hey, Gregor, do you know what the plan is for the watch party? Well, yeah, I think it's open to the, I think there's 16,000 seats inside the arena. And then in the plaza, I don't know exactly what capacity is. I've been told, anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000. So it's 21,000 people. They also have that midway currently that's going to run this weekend. So they won't have the two outside ones, which I don't think is that big of a deal, if I'm being bluntly honest, right? Like usually you don't have that many people outside the building anyway. So it's, you know what? It'll be fun. People will find lots of ways to watch the game. Trust me. Some of you are going to go to the Riverhawks game at 1, then get home. Some are going to the Elks game at 2. Still gives you lots of time to get home for the 6:20 puck drop of game 1 on Saturday night. The Oilers, do you remember game 1 of 2006? The Oilers had a rather substantial lead. The other thing to note, and if you talk about Florida, last year Florida, in the opening game of the playoff of the Stanley Cup final, took 7 penalties. Vegas scored twice in the power play. They won. In game 2, Florida took 4 penalties. Vegas scored twice. Now, in games 4 and 5, Florida only took a penalty in each game. But the series was kind of over by then, right? Like they were banged up. We knew, Kachuk hurt, all that stuff. But I look for Florida, and I'm curious to see, did they learn from how they came out last year in the Stanley Cup final? Because if they're going to run around, and I don't expect they will, I'll be bluntly honest, I don't think they will. They'll be physical. There's a difference between physical and running around. Very different. They'll play aggressive. I think Florida's like, you know what? We go into most games, we're probably going to take 3 penalties. Now, maybe, like against the Rangers, they only took 2.5 a game. So that's a big win for them. I'm curious to see more so how the Oilers ready for game 1. Right, game 1 prior to this year was kind of their arch nemesis. They won game 1 against LA. They were up 4-1 in Vancouver, played great for the first, whatever it was, 34 minutes, and then soiled the sheets after. But they had a great start in that game. And then they obviously won game 1 against Dallas. And we're up 2-0. So the Oilers this year in game 1, they've been ready. They've shown it. They've kind of gotten rid of that game 1 jitters. We'll see if they're ready for game 1 on Saturday, man. Can't wait. Quick break. We will return. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, coming live in the eWell studio. For all your electrical needs, think eWell. eWell.ca.
Edmonton. Let's bring it home. This is Sports 1440.
Try the new extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra-large New York-style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now. The extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza for just $22.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble!
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy Team, reporting!
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
AccuSteel heavy haul trailers have been providing highway and off-road custom trailers for over 25 years, bringing you innovative solutions for unconventional problems. They're your industry leader in engineered heavy haul trailer frame repairs, retrofits, rebuilds, and custom trailer fabrication. When you need to haul the largest machinery on the planet, they can do it with a premium engineered heavy haul trailer made right here in Alberta. They're 100% family owned, treating you like part of the family. Trust the experts at AccuSteel heavy haul trailers. Learn more at accusteel.ca.
For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community. But they couldn't have done it without building their employees from the ground up. Many of GS Construction's employees started without any industry experience at all. But because of such programs such as GS's Next Person Up, they've gone on to become valued members of the team. If you want to join the team as a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man, or woman, or water and sewer foreman, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Until June 8th, make the shift to more savings at Fountain Tire and get up to $200 off a set of 4 select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 or more. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Book online today. I can tell by the look on your face you're thinking about it.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
An accident. And it wasn't your fault.
How do I get the compensation and support I need?
How do I get treatment paid for?
Why does an insurance adjuster want to meet with me?
Where do I even start with all this paperwork?
What if I never get better?
Feels like no one has my back.
Robinson LLP does. Visit robinsonllp.com to find your injury lawyer. Robinson LLP, the recovery team.
Diablo Boots has been open for business for 60 years, selling Canadian-made quality boots. Diablo has Canada West work, biker, and cowboy boots with fixable soles and heels. So why buy boots like Aria, Justin, or Red Wing that are made in China? Get your money's worth with Diablo's Canada West tough, comfortable work boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. And does Diablo sell the best boots in town? You betcha.
.245. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440. The championship begins tonight in the NBA. You have the Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. So kicking off, if you're itching for a little championship to check that out. Should be a really good series. I think I'm gonna go with the Mavs. I like the dynamic duo in the backfield. Well, backcourt, not the backfield. So there you go. Let's get to our basketball report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Over the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. And of course, they're saying a big shout out and hope for a victory for their two sponsors, Voices Zach Hyman and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at legacyheating.ca. The Edmonton Stingers are off to a very good start. They are 4-1 and one of the newest members of their team, just fresh off of finishing up a successful college career. Ben Cricky joins us. Ben, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, Jason. How are you?
You know what? I'm pretty good. How about you? How is it? It's been a few years since you're suiting up playing basketball in your hometown after many years in Iowa.
Yeah, no, it's been special to play in Edmonton again. Definitely nice having family and friends out for the first time in 5 years. So it's been great.
How do you like the score clock? You know, you get down to the final 4 minutes and then it's a race to the points. So it's a little adjustment for some guys. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, you don't really think about it much until the last 4 minutes of the game, and then they shut off the clock and whatever. But I mean, it's cool. I think it's exciting for the fans. You know, every game ends with a game winner, which is kind of thrilling, I guess. You know, you could be up 5, up 15, and there's no clock to kind of run down, and sometimes that basketball gets a little annoying to watch. So I think it's fun for the fans to see game winners hit every game.
Also, there's less timeouts, right? So I think it's a little bit more on the decision making of the players too, right? In quick time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just got to go out there and make decisions and kind of just hope the practice you put in, even though we don't practice, much. It's kind of an abbreviated season. You kind of hope that pays off and you can just go out and win a game.
So Ben, how, the league, I think the CEBL is, they're attracting more talent. We've seen some guys go directly, to the NBA and to the G League and such. This was not really, it was just kind of in its infancy, even when you went to college, right? But when you were a kid growing up, like this just wasn't even an option. How nice is it to have that and to see kind of where the CBL can go from here?
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, the last few summers coming back from college, I'd try to catch a couple games, here and there. And, even in the last few years, the league has really taken off and grown and attracted more talent, like you said. So it's been great to be a part of. And, I think they do, every team does a great job with community involvement and getting involved wherever they're at. So I think it's good. It's generating some hype.
I have to ask you, being in Iowa, what was you must have watched Caitlin Clark a few times. How was that like?
Oh, of course. It was crazy to be a part of all that, fame and attention. It was really cool. She's obviously a legend. I was lucky enough to catch a few games, and the game that she broke the all-time scoring record, I was there too, where she hit that long bomb 3, and they were getting great crowds all year long, selling out 17,000, 18,000. So fun to kind of be around that.
How has your game, or how did it prove and evolve in college? What was the biggest improvement do you feel in your game?
I think probably just the strength and physicality piece of it, coming out of high school and just kind of getting thrown into the fire down south. First at Valpo and then Iowa. It's just a faster paced game and a little more physical and more aggressive. So I think I improved from that standpoint. And I mean, I think in a number of other ways too, just kind of my holistic game improved as it should have in, 5 years down there.
Ben Cricky joins us from the Stingers. And so, guys are off to a really good start. Ben, give me your keys through 5 games and what's been working well for the Stingers.
Yeah, I think when we're at our best, we play together as a team. We share the ball. We move the ball well. So I think that's a strength. And another thing is we have a lot of depth, from top to bottom, a lot of guys that can put the ball in the hoop and play fast. So I think we're off to a good start. Still lots of games left, but I think we're headed in a really good direction.
How well did you know your head coach before you came here?
Decently well. I mean, he's obviously been a part of the Edmonton basketball landscape for a while now, and I've got to know him a little bit throughout the years. And he was trying to recruit me a little bit to go play at U of A and other stuff. So, got to know him, and obviously really respect his game as well. When I was younger, I'd watch him play at the U of A and then kind of track his professional career as well. So, a lot of respect for Jordan Baker.
It's interesting. I was looking at the leading scorers around the league, and you guys don't have anybody near the top, but you have lots of balance. Like you play more of a bench. Where do you in basketball? Do you think you can win that way, or do you eventually need a few more guys, somebody who's a little bit more of a go-to guy, or is it best to have a guy who can be a go-to guy on any different night?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think depending on the situation, guys can take over where needed, or we kind of had this similar thing at Iowa that we had really good depth and not anybody really leading outright and scoring like a 25 game kind of guy, but you kind of just go with who's hot that particular night and go to that, and you just play that team game to figure that out, I guess, because with the Stingers we have a lot of different options.
How about just how the game's evolved for a big man, Ben? Big men are expected, like it used to be the big men, hey, you kind of just played around the basket and you rebounded and you know what, maybe get to the top of the paint a little bit, but man, now big guys are shooting threes like, the guards used to shoot threes, right? Like the game has totally changed. How much more work did you maybe have to put into your long range shooting?
Yeah, I mean, I try to work on that every day, and I've been around a lot of trainers and different people that have played in the NBA, and they all say the same things. You got to be able to shoot, and you got to be able to shoot with range, and have a quick release. So I'm continuing to work on that, and I want to be one of those guys that can play away from the rim and then have a little back to basket game as well in tight. But that's the 3-point shot is definitely a huge part of the game.
And I want to get your thoughts, Ben, on the NBA final, the Celtics and the Mavericks. Who do you like and why?
I like the Mavs. I like Luka Doncic and Kyrie, that duo. But I think what Luka's doing is amazing. The stats he's putting up, and he makes guys around him better while averaging 34 points a game. So I think he'll be a tough matchup. But at the same time, I mean, the Celtics are such a deep team and have some stars on their roster as well. So it'll be very interesting. I hope Dallas can pull it out. They're my team. I like them, but okay. I think it'll be a challenge.
So are the Mavs, have they been your team for a while?
It's kind of weird because, in today's day, you just kind of follow players around.
Okay.
I mean, so I grew up liking the Spurs, kind of the team game they have kind of going on. And then, once Luka came into the league, I was watching him pretty intently. He's pretty inspirational, his story, just coming over from Europe and just as a young guy dominating. So I also appreciated that.
Yeah. What was your thoughts on Wembanyama's first year in the league?
I thought he was solid. I mean, obviously not a very good team there with the Spurs, but I mean, the numbers he was putting up were pretty good. And, at certain points, he looked pretty unstoppable. So I think as he continues to get comfortable in the league and stronger, I mean, the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy to see a guy that big who can move that well and shoot from distance. It's just, I don't know if you've ever seen a guy like I just remember big guys like Manu Bol, and no offense, Manu Bol wasn't shooting, right? So it was just it was a totally different game. Well, Ben, continued success with the Stingers on Sunday. It's a big week in Edmonton. You got Riverhawks and Elks on Saturday, then the Oilers, and then of course the Stingers on Sunday. So best of luck.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
There you go. That's Edmonton Stingers forward Ben Cricky, of course, from Edmonton. Then he went and had a very successful college career at Iowa, and has come home now and is back and playing for the Stingers. We're off to a very good start, 4-1. Them and Vancouver are tied, and Vancouver just a few more points. So the Stingers, the second highest scoring team right now in the CEBL. And you know what? If you've yet to go to a game, I highly recommend it. It's very entertaining. And so they're taking on Niagara on Sunday. Then they're in Calgary on next Friday, and back home next Sunday against Winnipeg. So a busy week coming up for the Stingers. 2 home games for the next 2 Sundays. Coming up after 3:00, Terry Ryan will join us. We got a lot of text to get to at 833-401-1440. We got Nick Kipros coming up later. Spec also a one-on-one with Brett Kulak and more on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Let's get to the con, man. Sports update brought to you by our good friends at High Street Insurance. 10 years. Started here in Edmonton. They've expanded across the country, which is great, but never forget where you came from. Support local. Go to highstreetinsurance.com if you're looking for a company that works with people, not products. High Street Insurance.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Week 1 of the CFL season kicks off tonight as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers host the Montreal Alouettes. Kickoff 6:30. Of course, the Elks will be in action on Saturday when they take on the Riders. 2 o'clock down at Commonwealth. In the association, it's finally here. Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Celtics meet the Mavericks. Tip-off 6:30. That one going from Boston. In the majors, the Jays split their series with the Orioles after a 6-5 victory earlier today. They'll now head to Oakland to take on the Athletics. Elsewhere, Royals knocked off the Guardians 4-3. Right now, the Mariners lead those Athletics 2-0 in the top of the 5th. Later tonight, Dodgers in Pittsburgh. You got the Nationals taking on the Braves. Twins in New York. Cubbies battle the Reds. Cards host the Rockies at the Battle of the Sox as Boston takes on Chicago just after 6. And the Padres host the Diamondbacks. International friendly action on the men's side. Canada falling to the Netherlands 4-0 earlier today in the WNBA. The WNBA Commissioner's Cup rolls on. The 0-9 Mystics take on the Sky. Tip-off at 5. At 5:30, the Dream head to Georgia to take on the Dream. And at the Memorial, after one round right now, Adam Hadwin atop the leaderboard at 6 under par. Scotty Scheffler, Corey Connors, and Colin Morikawa sitting in second at 5 under. As for the other Canadians, Adam Svensson is even. Nick Taylor 1 over. Taylor Pentra 2 over. Tough day for Mackenzie Hughes, currently sitting last spot in 6 over par. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host Terry Ryan, Sports 1440's very own Kevin Carius, and we'll speed things up in the Cantork Racing Report with Colin Livingston. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
And I'm Zach Hyman.
And when we're not making juicy sweet passes
or having my goals disallowed,
we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling.
You know, guys used to call me a plumber.
And now they call you an AC repairman.
Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well,
okay.
Call Legacy, call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hey Leduc, it's me, Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy. What you might not know is that I started practicing physio here in Leduc more than 23 years ago. In those years since, I haven't forgotten the kind and welcoming people that trusted me then. It feels great to be back, but I know we have to live up to our promise, and that's to live up to our name. This means bringing a leading edge focus on our environments, technology, communities, and the people who will care for you, like Graham Raymond and Amanda McIsaac, 2 locals who want to make a difference in your life. We're now open in Leduc. Learn more about us at leadingedgephysio.com.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
0% for 60 months. I'm not kidding. Where? Well, it's GMC Buick, and it's GMC's Adventure Calls event. Pick out a new 2024 Sierra with finance rates as low as 0% for up to 60 months. If you're a Costco member, you get another $1,200 off purchase price on any 2024 in-stock Sierra. We're talking half tons, 3/4 tons, even 1 tons. If you'd rather an SUV, we've got low lease payments and an awesome selection on GMC Terrain. So get in today and get your adventure on. Wolf, GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Rev up your engines for an afternoon of fun at Cars for a Cause.
Get up close and personal with hundreds of classic and collector vehicles. Enjoy live music from the Metro Nomad and check out the food trucks, ice cream vendors, and the Omen Brewing Beer Tent. Tickets are $20. Kids 12 and under get in free. All proceeds support the Parkinson Association of Alberta. June 15th at Yesterday's Auto Gallery on 51st Avenue. For more info, visit parkinsonassociation.ca.
The ATV Classic is returning to Northern Bear Golf Club.
An international field of professionals will battle it out on their path towards the PGA Tour.
$15 gets you access to the tournament or upgrade your ticket for premium greenside viewing.
Net proceeds go to Youth on Course to give kids aged 6 to 18 access to play golf for just $5.
Come see the future stars of the PGA Tour.
The ATV Classic at Northern Bear Golf Club.
June 27th to 30th.
Get your tickets at atvclassic.com.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
Mr. Rooter does a TED Talk.
Thank you for coming today. Let's talk about it. Pressure. Everyone in this room feels pressure. But let me tell you something about pressure. I'd rather feel too much pressure than not enough. You know why? Because low pressure often means you have corroded pipes, impaired water lines, or a calcified shower head. And who needs that? I'm Mr. Rooter, and this has been my TED Talk.
For an inspirational plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
1, 2, 3, 4. Well, she was just 17, and you know.
Thursday afternoon. How are you? Down to what are we at now? It's getting closer, baby. Nice. 51 hours. Yeah, just shy of 51 hours till a puck drop on Saturday night. Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Welcome back to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. If you want to get in the game, NBA Finals, lots of fun prop bets. Hey, there's lots of things you can do at PlayAlberta.ca. Who you think's going to obviously win the series? Oilers are a slight underdog. If you like that one, use the promo code Gregor50, Gregor50, which is a free $50 play with a $5 deposit at PlayAlberta.ca. And we welcome to the program former NHLer, first round selection in the 1995 NHL entry draft right here in Edmonton. Went on to the Newfoundland Sports Hall of Fame. Two-time author, big fan of people who take their shoes off on airplanes. Terry Ryan joins us. TR, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Getting ready for the big day on Saturday, and I don't mean my Newfoundland Hockey Hall of Fame induction, although I am looking forward to that. I mean the NHL starting again.
Is the induction on Saturday?
It is, yeah.
Okay, what time?
It's 7 o'clock on Saturday. A couple of my buddies. It's out in Gander, which is about 2.5, 3 hours from St. John's. So a nice little road trip, and some of my real close buddies. One of Cody Donaghy plays right now over in Cardiff in the English League.
Okay.
And Connor Donaghy was part of the Chicklets Cup. They're brothers. They're my real good buddies. And we're going to go out there with my dad, and I'm getting inducted with, I know there's some Newfoundlanders listening. Some of my good friends that Ivan Hapgood, who coached us to 2 Allen Cup finals, and won one, not with me, but he won one. And Ray Dalton, Sugar Ray Dalton, my real good buddy, played in the Q, won whatever the Q championship is named. I forget the name of it, but won it with Quebec, right? He's my age. And a couple of other, there's a girl, Tracy Sullivan, a legend from here that captained Acadia in the early 2000s, and Andy Brake in the builder category. So I know them all. It'll be a good time. So I was going to bring a slew of people, but I don't want to get sidetracked because these are people that, it's going to be an honor for all of us, but I've known them for a while. It's just flukes out that I don't know everybody that goes into the Hall of Fame, but I know these people, most of them, like, really well. So and they got some hotels for us and everything and a place to go after. So I really am, but I really was referring to the NHL starting up again when I said that. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Well, but if your induction's at 7, what time? So if it starts at 80, so it would start at 9:30 in Newfoundland. Is that right?
Yeah, we're an hour and a half.
Yeah,
of Eastern time.
Yeah. Okay. So Eastern time, the game starts at 8:20. So you're even further back. So it's even later than you. So you actually, if it starts at 7 your time, your ceremony will be done, and then you can still go watch the game.
It's honestly, it's the hockey. Everybody there is going to know the difference. There's probably going to be the game on. I think after they got the awards out of the way, we've already been talking about it. Some of the people organizing, they're like, should we just get all the awards over as soon as we can? I'm like, yeah, that's definitely what we should do. And then it's going to be a bunch of hockey people they got the screens there, right?
Yeah.
To give a little video on all of us. So we're just, I believe the plan. I don't want to speak with everybody organizing, but I know at least some people are leaning towards, let's all stay. We're all hockey fans anyway, and let's just watch the game together.
Yeah, why not?
I believe that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. I like it. That'll be fun. Well, congratulations. You got your speech ready?
No, I'm going to write it tomorrow morning. I think I'm going to write a poem again. Yeah.
Oh.
It's tough. They only want us there for 5 minutes. Now, everybody in the building knows that I'm going to go more than 5 minutes, but more than 10 is probably disrespectful. Yes. But I can't tell. You know what I mean? You can ask me what my favorite brand of clothing is, and I'm going to go longer than that. So, like, just introducing my speech is going to take longer than 5 minutes. So I figure if I do a poem, it can maybe create a smirk or a laugh, all while mentioning all the people and that are important to me. Because if I just start to go, I'd like to thank, what am I going to do? If I list off my hockey DB or my elite prospects, because that includes senior hockey, it would take me like 4 minutes and 23 seconds just to list the places that I've played. You know what I mean? If I go, well, it all started in 1977. I don't know.
Well, I would hope that at some point you should pull a Snoop Dogg and say, you know what? I'd like to thank myself. Oh, that was still one of the greatest. I don't know if you've ever seen that, TR. It was unbelievable how he delivered it. It was so funny. He's like, I'd like to thank myself for all the hard work I put in. It was great, and it's true. Right? But I just thought it was so funny when I saw him.
I like that he did that. I tell you, the one that annoys me. Now, I've said to you, like, I'm not overly religious. I'm spiritual, whatever. I'm not against anything. I don't think. But here's if you are religious, though, if you are, fair.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is, like, people win an award and they go up and, like, thanks a lot. Like, I'd like to thank God first. I know God was on my side. Now, I take that as an insult if I'm nominated. Yeah, well, does God like you better than me? What God are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? I find that the most ignorant thing to say. Or if you win even the Stanley Cup. Well, it's great. I knew God was with me. And I was praying to God, and God was with me. Oh, I see. So the other team, bunch of bad boys, I just always found that.
Yeah.
I'd rather thank, I don't know. Snoop did it the right way. I like to give a nod to everybody that helped me get there. And I'm not saying that God wouldn't be one of them. But to thank God when you know that everybody in the room was praying to God, it's a little self-righteous, I find.
That's a fair point, right? Because if he's helping, and I know people are going to say, hey, we're not going to get him into a religious thing. Because people are going to say, well, I'm not saying God isn't helping them. He's helping me and whatever. But I'm not certain that he necessarily is, or she. God might be a she. Who knows?
Yes, you see, that's where I am. And I'm not anti-religious. I'm just from the church. I'm not really sure. It's great, and I respect all faiths, and, well, I can't say that, but I respect the vast majority, the ones that, most of them are ingrained in good things. So it's not a knock. Religion is just part of this story, the vehicle that gets it there. It's just funny when you're the same religion as people on the other team or other nominees, if you thank the head of your religion, in a sense, because that means whoever that might be is probably picking you over the other schmucks on the other team. Just always made me feel weird about it.
Terry Ryan joins us. TR, we're getting closer. Tomorrow's media day. I don't think players are, you know what, you got to do more media. And for some guys, it's not like they haven't done media all year long. I was kind of chuckled at that. I'm like, oh God, you got to spend 45 minutes talking the day before the game. That had zero impact in how you play. None, zero, zilch. Like I've never bought in a goalie who's like, oh, I can't talk to the media at 10 a.m. because I have a 7:00 p.m. game. Why? It has zero bearing. You're a mental midget then if you can't do both.
Well, you know what? If you're asking from personal experience, being, the fact, I joke about it, but I mean, leaving home and going third overall and then playing junior at 14 and everything, I had a camera in my face a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember just thinking it was part of it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like I never questioned it. If you needed me, I never, unless I had an injury or something, there might have been a time or two that I couldn't, but it was never frustration. I just thought, like, and really that, if you're in the Habs too, that's one of the first things. Mike Keane was the very first, but after that, Vinny Damphus came in, he was captain. And I just remember him saying that, like, if anybody has a problem with this, we're the Montreal Canadiens. We have to look good and we have to express ourselves with respect. And, you're a Canadian. And after that, I don't remember anybody saying boo. It's just part of the job. That's what it is. You're getting paid a lot of money. And most, of course, is what you do on the ice. But you're getting paid so much money that I think you should realize that's part of it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Like that. And going in, it's not like it's a surprise. Every kid growing up, are you telling me they didn't know, hey, these guys have to talk to the media? Like, give me a break. Everybody knows now more than ever it's part of it. And for the players, if you know what, you don't have to be a big extrovert. You know what, answer it, because the majority of it is it's still a lot of the same guys, but it's like anything. You work harder to get better as a player. You could work, well, put way less work in it because it wouldn't be that hard, to do an interview and give you something insightful. That's it. Be done. Right. And
no, I was going to say, sorry. So many people now, hockey players, a lot of them are a natural fit for what comes after hockey. You've got Nick Kypreos coming on today. Nick Kypreos not only is expresses himself behind the mic, he can write, like a lot of these things. And I don't think if you were open to so many interviews and to be able, and you learn on the fly, man, you learn. There's things you pick up. Maybe Luke Atzik probably learned this week a few things, and that's like anybody that ever speaks out loud on the radio, and you got to have a thick skin and you got to learn to do it. And I just think that the players that, it's no fluke. Think back at every one of these people that you see that are doing color, or there's a lot of hockey players now, analysts. There's more podcasts popping up than ever. There's more avenues on TV, and there's way more players doing it than ever. And most of these players were the players that you wanted to talk to after the game because they were always there and they were articulate. And you don't just develop that overnight. It takes time.
Yeah, you got to work on it for sure. And although, like the Gazdic thing, I'll be honest, I quite chuckle about the people that were crying that he should lose his job over it. Like if Vancouver ever wants to get over the notion that they're one, like, I don't know. And by the way, I watched the 30 for 30 about the riot. I thought it was done very well. They spoke to the people who got arrested. Like, I didn't know it was that serious for some of those people. Like, you know what, when you're 18, 19, 20, you're there and you know what, you make a dumb decision. Now, I'm not excusing it, but most people listening at some point in their life would be like, you know what, I wish I could have that decision back. And it wasn't one that led to you getting arrested, having to go to jail. Right. And having a criminal record, which, stops some of them to go into medical school and stuff. But I found it rather interesting. But also, I found it interesting how there was a lot of people that just said, well, you know what, like, we riot. I didn't even really remember the 94 riot, to be honest. I definitely remember the 2011 one. And when I saw the outrage in Vancouver after Gazdik's comments, I said, you know what? The bigger issue there is that it's always woe is us. Right. So you have a bunch of people who send these horrific messages to Gazdic. And then so he bites back and says, they're a bunch of losers. Your team lost. And now they go on, well, we're the victim. You can't say that to us. We're the victim. Like, give me a break there. I didn't know how deep seated it was till I saw the reaction, not only from fans, but some media people saying, well, he shouldn't be on air. He should lose his job. And I'm like, lose his job for saying some people were losers. Like, I'm sorry. If you're offended by that, boo freaking who.
Now listen, Jay, I'm with you 100%. I find it wild that if someone like that can just say something that's just so, what's the word? Like, he just barely sprinkled that with any level of animosity, And yet, but I know where he's going with it. When I said he learned, I think he learned that certain people, if Biz Nasty said that, no one would care. He's called out full fan bases. He's called them expletive, insert here, whatever you want to. He's called them out. Many fan bases. He said things on Spittin' Chicklets. That's a podcast. The most popular, often. And he says things. And I love Biz and Witter, and I love the boys. I'm part of that universe. But I've often said, like, wow, like you can just go in and do all of these shows and in one day just put on the suit and go, I'm Biz Nasty, and, give me some respect here, like Rodney Dangerfield, and then go back. And Gadzik says something that's not even in the universe of the worst things that they've talked about. And people are talking about firing him. I find it absolutely bizarre. And now, I support all of it. I love Biz. He's so nice to me. He came over here. He treats my dad unbelievable. In no way am I calling him out. I'm just saying it's funny that people are freaking out over Luke, who's a real good young prospect in that world. He really is. He's good at what he does. And, better than a lot. I won't name people. But holy cow, I can't believe that they got so upset about that. I really can't.
But honestly, that is a deep-seated, what I would call a woe is me attitude, right? They complain about the officials more than anyone. That's why I tell other fans, stop it. You do not want to go down that path. Well, do you lose a game? It's always the ref's fault. No, it's not. The officials have been, to me, barely a story in any of the Oilers series. If I'm being honest, I haven't seen many blatant missed calls. People are like, oh, I don't like that cross-check. The league sent out a mandate. They were cracking down on cross-checks. If you cross-check a guy directly in the back, you're going to get a penalty. Doesn't matter how hard it is. Doesn't matter how vicious it is. That's what they're trying to take out. So guess what? Every player knew it. It's not a surprise. So if you then do it, guess what? The onus is on you. Don't be cross-checking guys in the back. It's just how it goes. But constantly whining about officials, it becomes, I'm a big believer, what you put out there eventually comes back. So if you're constantly negative and you're always Eeyore and you're thinking the worst is going to happen, well, guess what? Eventually the worst is going to happen. It might not be tomorrow, might not be next week, but eventually it's going to happen. And that's what I sense from there. And so I'm not surprised that he says that to a fan base. And then they try to play the victim card on a comment that was so like almost lacking in any sort of vitriol or meanness. And it's like, no, he should lose his job. He should apologize. Like, it's comical. But the more I read about it in Vancouver, and then I just happened to be watching that 30 for 30, which I recommend everybody watch. Like, it was really insightful to me. I was watching it with my son, and it was explained to him, like, son, like, there'll be times in your life where you can make good decisions or bad decisions. I always try to tell him, like, we're all gonna mess up in life. You just hope that they're 3s and 4s, because that's a 9 and 10. When you get a criminal record and now you can't go to medical school, that's a 9 and 10 mistake. Some might say it's 11 or 12 out of 10, right? Like, we all make mistakes. And so I actually quite enjoyed it because, the people said, hey, yeah, I screwed up. But to the level that, what happened, and you pay your price, and then you have all the other people who are, well, look at us, we're way better. You know what? That part of it was what I like. So I'd highly recommend that 30 for 30. I don't know if you've seen it, TR, or not, but it was actually quite good.
I haven't seen it. I you know what? Now that you're saying it, I'm going to. I know the story, obviously. I lived it. And you know what's funny? You know what I found? It's wild that multiple riots. Because have you gone to a game? When I go to games in Vancouver, it like before pregame. I mean, after, I don't know, like anything else. I haven't gone to one of those games. But I've gone to games in Vancouver, lots of them. And it's like really laid back beforehand. Wherever you are, I like to go out for a bite, on a patio or whatever. Really, really laid back. Where I go, I don't see I don't see anything that even closely resembles what might be tension like that afterwards. I'm saying, if you go, there's places that are even more surrounded with a lot of population, big, I don't know, a Habs, Leafs, Rangers game, at certain points of the year, it just seems like there's more mob mentality beforehand. In Vancouver, I find it almost laid back. People seem to be positive, they talk, and then afterwards, these crazy things that you see at certain European football games.
Yeah, it was quite. I honestly didn't even remember. I don't know how many people. I didn't remember the 1994 riots at all.
Do.
Oh, okay, you remember those? Yeah, I didn't remember those ones at all. Obviously saw the footage from 2011 and all the rest, but I didn't know about it in 1994. So that was a little bit of an eye opener for me, for sure. 3:20, we'll come back. We'll talk more on the Oilers and the Panthers. It's a media day tomorrow. Got a few other numbers we're going to dissect about the Oilers and the Panthers in an area where I think the Oilers have an advantage. That's coming up next on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Ennio and Jason are friends.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, buddy? Except when they talk hockey.
Edmonton had all those first overall picks, and they still can't win.
Yeah, but we still beat you. Battle of Alberta champs, baby.
But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wheelhawk beef jerky.
It might be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wheelhawk beef jerky today in Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip. Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Until June 8th, make the shift to more savings at Fountain Tire and get up to $200 off a set of 4 select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 or more. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Book online today. I can tell by the look on your face you're thinking about it.
Hey, Edmonton, it's your quarterback, McLeod Bethel Thompson. Elks football is back. The home opener, presented by Pure Later Tackle Hunger, is Saturday, June 8th versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Grey Cup will be in the house to salute 75 years of EE football. Tickets and more at goelks.com.
Oh, man, I love this song. Woo! Thick. It's always a song that just reminds you of a certain time in your life, right? Or maybe you had it on a, I don't know, people don't have them anymore, but a burnt CD. Oof. So this is one of the tunes. When my brother won a national championship at Acadia, they had one of the guys on their team make like a CD, but it had all sorts of quotes from Slapshot. It And then some sick songs in it. And that was one of them. God, I used to laugh when he'd play that. Oof, it's funny. The song was pretty good. I like it. Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Thanks for joining us. As always, it's time now to get to the oil report brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, where you can get a free 10-year or 1 million kilometer warranty with all demo vehicles, only at the 13-time Excellence Award winner in sales and service, VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. As Kevin Karras, host of the Karras Show, joins us. Are you tying your tie right now, KK?
No, I'm telling you what I just finished doing, playing Thursday hockey, Greg's in TR. And one of the fine members of the Thursday hockey crew is an old friend of yours, an old foe, Mike Burge from the 2005 world's longest hockey game.
Does he still have a scar from over his eye?
Well, he was talking about it when I was telling him I was coming on here. So, yeah, wasn't that something?
That was a classic. Well, that turned into like a fake fight that had a few blows landed. It was quite funny. So,
no, his version of the story is much different than yours, as you can imagine.
Oh, yeah. Well, what is he saying? He thought it was real?
Well, no, he said basically he's gone on record that he pummeled you into oblivion.
Yeah, well, as the proof in the pudding shows, that wasn't the case. But it was fun, though. We both did land punches accidentally, maybe accidentally on purpose. You know how that works out. You start being a joke, and then all of a sudden one lands, and what? So, yeah, it was funny. It was more so funny when Brent Sake went on camera the next morning and told people it was a real fight, and people believed it. So that part was quite comical. So.
Well, one thing that isn't funny is the way that Burge plays hockey right now, because it is not even close to be. Well, that's actually very funny. It's not even close to representing anything.
It must be tough for him to get back in a corner, I would think, for sure. So carrying a few extra LBs.
Yes.
Looking at the orders, I looked at all the numbers because I wanted to see. And obviously you can't really base off of there's not enough sample size in the playoffs. So I went off of regular season numbers for 5-on-5 scoring, 5-on-5 expected goals, and all those sorts of things. And I uncovered that LA, Dallas, and Vancouver were infinitely better 5-on-5 teams than Tampa, who was minus 18 goals, 4 goals against 5-on-5. The Rangers were only +2, and Boston was the best with their goal for differential. Their expected goals, not so much. And, so I look at Florida and, I said it beforehand. I wasn't shocked that they shut down the Rangers 5-on-5 because they really haven't been good. Like Edmonton was a top 3 team 5-on-5 all year long. And I'm kind of curious to see how the Panthers handle the Oilers 5-on-5 because, the Panthers have been the best 5-on-5 defensive team all year long, but the Oilers are one of the best offensive teams 5-on-5. And so I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out because they're a lot better than Tampa and Boston and the Rangers 5-on-5.
Oh, that's a lot of info there, Griggs. I think everyone is just waiting to see how both teams enter the ring. It's like, in my mind, on Saturday night, I think it's like such a hyped boxing match. Everyone's waiting to see which team is going to come out and do what and how this team is going to respond. I understand all the 5v5 numbers. I understand all that, and people put stock into that. Personally, I don't care how you score. It's just as long as you score. And I don't care how you defend as long as you defend. I believe there were 5 shorthanded goals in the Ranger and Florida series, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot of shorthanded goals. So to me, that is going to be one of the key parts is the power play of the Oilers. But when you look at how Florida pressures and how Florida can push the pace and press things and cause some shorthanded difficulties, that to me is maybe bigger than 5v5.
TR?
Kevin, I believe you covered, we had a few conversations now. I think it came up that you covered the Golden Bears back in the late 90s. Am I right there?
Yeah, I started covering when, right in their glory days, to be honest with Rob Domi. He was there for the 10 years. Out of the 10 years, 5 years, Chris Knobloch was their TR. So,
okay, well, this is what I was going to get to here. So it's funny. Knobloch played on the Red Deer Rebels the year I did. He was just gone by the time I got there. So played on his team, but I didn't. But anyway, I know much about Chris Knobloch, and I've been in the same room. We've met a few times. Is there anything you saw in him as a player at U of A that you see now in him as a coach behind the bench with the Edmonton Oilers?
I really do. That's a great question, TR. And I mean, we had Rob Dahm on yesterday morning from Austria, and it was cool to have his perception and his take on Chris Knobloch. And what I thought was very interesting is that he said, I never thought, in his words, I never thought that Chris was going to be a career coach. This was going to be his profession. Right at the very beginning and even at the end of his career at the U of A. But once he started going and went to the Prince Albert Raiders as an assistant coach, where Rob Dahm went as an assistant coach, he said, I knew that he was going to be a coach, because no one goes to Prince Albert to be an assistant coach if they don't have the love for the game to be that. But to your point, TR, I really think that the two of them have a matching personality behind the bench. I'm not sure if Chris really wanted to get into that yesterday, but I do see similarities between the two behind the bench from when Rob was at the U of A and Chris was under him.
Interesting. Is there anything, if you're on the Oilers here, is there anything that particularly scares you about Florida?
Well, yeah, I mean, they have a great team. They do have a very good team. So, but to say, here's how I'll answer that, TR. I was more scared of Colorado before Nichushkin and his problems surfaced, because I felt that line with Nichushkin and McKinnon and Rantanen were deadly, and they could scare the bejesus out of everyone. To me, that's where I was scared of that team and that line at the time. And that had a long ways to go of why Colorado didn't advance, in my opinion. But I would say that Florida presents different challenges, different problems, but I still think I totally agree with Leon Draisaitl when he said when we are at our very best, we can beat anyone in the league.
Kevin Carries joins us. Yeah, I would agree with that. The Elks, KK, they kick off their 75th season officially tonight. They have the big gala dinner. They're going to have the most alumni they've ever had in one place. They've got some events tomorrow. Then they got a huge signing for anybody going to the game on Saturday from 11:30 until 1:30. All the alumni, you go to the clubhouse, so they'll all be there signing autographs. So for fans from all different generations, Ricky Ray, Michael Riley, Warren, go down the list of all the big names that will be there. What's your expectations on the field for the green and gold this year? Like, what is 500 realistic? Is it unrealistic? What do you think?
Well, if you were to say, if you want me to pick a record, I would say that they would just be below 500. So I would go something like 8-10. I think that's very doable. CFL is always, the parity is always there. There is a team that maybe goes like Winnipeg and goes off from year to year. But I think the Elks can be in that ballpark, 8-10. They have some question marks in the sense of McLeod Bethel Thompson and trying to get this team back. I think leadership is such a key factor here. But I like Niles Morgan on defense. I think he can be one of the leaders there. Lucius Purifoy in the middle, in the backfield, he can be a leader. And these are the guys that you've got to look to turn things around here. And I also think, when you look at Chris Joseph and everyone talks about the hats that he's been wearing, we had Jason Shivers on yesterday, the new defensive coordinator. I think that's going to take a lot off of Chris Jones's plate. And I think hopefully you'll be able to see some changes in the results column come this season.
Yeah, I'm like Bethel Thompson gives him a veteran quarterback for sure. I'm curious. It's hard to get any sense really of what they are in the preseason. Like, honestly, the second game, no one really played. So, doesn't mean anything. So I'm kind of curious, is the O-line improved enough? Because I don't care who your quarterback is. If your O-line hasn't improved much, it's, he's picking himself up off the turf all the time, then that's not great, right? Like, they won Grey Cups with Ricky Ray, and then their offensive line got terrible, and then didn't come close to even making the playoffs with Ricky Ray. So their O-line has to be better. And then I'm very curious with all the changes on the D-line, will they get enough pressure?
Hope so. Kim Dichie coming in, got good pedigree. Shivers raved about him yesterday. I think when you look at basically they've swapped out Serezna for a player like Kimdichi coming in. So they need to pressure the quarterback. Everyone knows that. I think there'll be more of a pressure-oriented defense coming more from the secondary and the linebacking core. And if they can help out a little bit on the defensive line, I think that'll be key too, Griggs.
Kev, have yourself an enjoyable evening. Good luck tying your tie, and we'll see you at the dinner.
Well, I'm more looking forward to see what the Duke wears at this thing.
Oh, my goodness. He's going to wear a brooch.
I don't know what he's going to wear. We talked about it this morning. I got to mention, too, we're going to have Warren Moon on tomorrow morning.
Oh, nice. Oh, the big moon man. I like it. Yeah. So, hopefully the Duke's not wearing one of those brooches with, like, the long arms at the bottom. I don't even know what it's officially called, but, yeah. I don't want one of those.
Yeah. Good talking to you, Greg. It's always good talking to you, TR, as well. Have a good rest of the show, boys. Take care.
There you go. That's Kevin Carius, host of the Carius Show every morning here on Sports 1440 from 7 to 11. Now, TR, did you never played football? You ever play soccer?
I did. Played a lot of soccer. Yeah, we were quite successful. Yeah, we won the Atlantics one year. Yeah, I played a lot.
Now, were you a striker or midfielder?
I was a striker. Yeah, I was the MVP of those Atlantics that year. And I had to stop playing because, I didn't have to, but I just didn't think it was smart to keep doing that in my draft year, playing hockey. But after that, I played last year in the Masters League. Yeah, I played, I love soccer. My daughter plays, for a reason. I didn't force her to do it, but I'm always around the field. I go to watch a lot of games here. I don't watch pro a lot. But locally, the Challenge Cup is a big thing, right? Like senior hockey is. So I just kind of couldn't play that, but that would have been a dream of mine for sure.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440. Quick break. We'll speed things up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Coming in live in the E-Well studio, EWEL.ca for all your electrical needs.
To bring the Stanley Cup back to Canada for the first time since 1993. Let's go, Oilers. Bring it home. This is Sports 1440.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XT60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the word. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
What's cracking at Cattail? Their men's league. Play 18 holes for 18 weeks on Tuesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. Then complete the day and head to Out of Bounds. Recently ranked one of Canada's top 10 in fine dining restaurants. For details, visit cattailcrossing.ca.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small iced coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes flavored iced coffee and delivery.
Hey, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Terry Ryan on a lovely Thursday. So heating up for the weekend. Nice. I know you golfers are just itching to get out. Well, some of you diehards have probably been golfing anyway, but I know that a few of the courses are a little wet, but everything is good now and ready to roll. So good luck. Keep it between the trees if you can. Keep it on the fairway. TR, do you golf?
Not really. I do at these charity events, but not enough to be any good.
Not enough to do any good. So I like a slice. Are you a slicer?
I'm anything. Yeah, I don't know where it's going. We just had like that part of that weekend in Moncton.
Yeah.
Was a golf game to start it all off. And it's good if it's best ball. Like I'm gonna hit one that's gonna go at some point straight and be the best ball in 18 holes worth of shots. But
yeah, all you need is one or two, eh?
That's all you need is a couple. So those I'm fine, but some holes I'd hit a 10 on.
Yeah. Well, you know what, golf, unless you practice at it, you're never going to improve.
Totally. So I'm at ease with it, and it's better because I have a way better time than everybody else. I enjoy the walk. I enjoy being out. I don't have to drink. I often go out. I've gone out with buddies and not even swung a club. I don't mind it out there, and without having to be good, I find I'm free of having to worry about it.
All right. Let's get to the racing report now, brought to you by Can Torque. And hey, they're pretty proud to announce that they just have the in-house capacity on machining now, which will mean improved quality control, ultimate flexibility. Give them a call, 436-2000, or send them an email, calling at cantorque.com. Gentleman who used to like golf, maybe he likes it a little bit. Serenity now at times. Colin Livingston joins us. Colin, how you doing?
It's another day in paradise.
Oh my God. You might be top 5 guys snap shows on the golf course.
You gotta love what you do. And I don't mind the rapid release of energy on the golf course.
The rapid release.
Yeah. I'm gonna start with IndyCar, then we'll get to some F1 because of course the F1 in Montreal. But you look at the IndyCar, man, it was like half the race is under caution. Like it kind of just sucks the life out of it a little bit.
It was, we spend a lot of time pumping the tires on IndyCar. I'm a huge fan. I think it's the best racing that's out there. Last weekend was not a display of driving talent. To be fair, a lot of it relates back to the track itself. They just, forever, the Detroit race was held on Belle Isle. It was a known entity. It was kind of a pseudo racetrack, but the drivers knew what was going on. They've moved it into the city. It's downtown now, and the lead up to what is called Turn 3 is massively wide. You could fit 6 cars wide, but you can only really get one through the corner.
Yeah.
And, opportunistic driving, people continually trying to throw it further and further inside, never making it. They didn't, there was a period about 2/3 of the way through the race where for 3 consecutive restarts, different drivers made the same mistake over and over and over again. And, it gets painful to watch. After that, once they finally got down to the last 20 laps, 25 laps, it settled down and, turned out to be a fuel mileage race. But, our old friend Scott Dixon is the best at managing his tires, managing his fuel, did exactly what he needed to do, and, notched another win.
And after a tough Indy 500, Honda just seems to bounce back and, has all top 4 spots in Detroit. Maybe even just kind of add to the frustration of Indy for them. Like, you're just like, what the hell happened?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a fun turnaround because Detroit is General Motors headquartered. Their global head office is featured very predominantly through the broadcast. So for Honda to bounce back in their backyard, but it's more of a track that's suitable to the type of power that the Honda makes versus what the Chevy engine does on the super speedway kind of stuff. But I mean, again, some really good driving. We need to, I think somebody needs to take this kid Santino Ferrucci out behind the paddock and have a physical conversation with him, because he keeps running his mouth, but then he keeps crashing into people, and those 2 things do not really lend itself to a lot of respect on the track.
Colin, F1 Montreal this weekend. Any storylines we should be looking out for?
This is going to be a tough track for Red Bull. I mean, they've been talking very openly about that. Red Bull was, has been beat a number of times this year. Once when, Verstappen's brakes failed and, he retired, but legitimately on pace last time out at Monaco. This is another track, Montreal, that is not necessarily going to lend itself to their car, mostly because of the curbing and how their car doesn't really handle the bumps as well as, what it seems like the Mercedes or the McLaren and the Ferrari have. McLaren's saying that they might not be a challenger, so this could be a Ferrari back to back. Interesting to see what Mercedes brings. They're for the first time in a while, Lewis and George Russell are going to be in the same spec car. They're bringing some upgrades as well. So that'll be interesting to see. And we'll see if Lance Stroll, at his home race can keep all 4 wheels on it and keep the car out of the fence for a change.
Were you surprised Sergio Perez signed with Red Bull?
I'm shocked. Honestly, good for him. Interesting that Red Bull is saying that he's the most viable option, because the last, I think it's at least the last 6, if not the last 7 teammates that have gone up beside Verstappen got sacked. They never got renewed. Yeah. So, Alex Albon was there, Daniel Kvyat was there, Ricardo was there. Ricardo, to his credit, he left, but you can go through and it's not been a really comfortable seat, but I mean, kind of interesting. Again, I'm shocked. I thought they would likely either move up Ricardo or Yuki Tsunoda from the junior team, but we'll see if they know what they're doing here in the next 2 years.
Esteban Ocon gets the 1 game benching. Also, it's announced that he's not going to drive next year for Alpine. So do you think this will be one race that turns into multiple races for him sitting on the sidelines?
Well, technically, it's not the whole race. They're putting their reserve driver, Jack Tuen, in for FP1.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to be on the sidelines for 1 practice session. It happens, they're actually required to do this.
You have to do it a few times, but
Jack Tuen is in a different situation than a lot of the other reserve drivers that have never had experience in an F1 car. I think that they're trying to send a message and saying, like, listen, all of a sudden Esteban Ocon can come down with a really strong stomach bug or some food poisoning or whatever it is, if they're happy with what they see out of FP1, to see if maybe they do the switcheroo. But yeah, I mean, tensions are very, very high in that team after the contact that was made at Monaco. And
It basically took out his like him and Gasly took out his own guy
for no
there was no reason,
no point in it. 0% chance of making the move stick. And and not coincidentally, they announced last week that they were not going to re-sign him. So he's another driver that's back on the market. Interesting to see if anyone scoops him up.
Speaking of interesting, the fact that Carlos signs, he's saying he's got a team that he signed for next year. I'm assuming like Red Bull might have tried to get him. They didn't get him. So then they went to Perez. So where do you think, who's signing with?
The speculation is that he's signed with Williams. Williams seems to be making a lot of the right moves now that, former Mercedes, management, James Vowles is running the show over there. Will be interesting. I mean, for Sainz, no matter where he ends up now, because he was with, Renault, because he was with, Red Bull, anything at this point after coming out of Ferrari is going to be a massive downgrade. Now, hopefully, 2026, new car coming out, new regulations. So that kind of opens it up to everyone again. But, the guys who have the experience, the top four with Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari and McLaren, they're going in with the better amount of information. They're going to start on the right foot. But again, it's always interesting to see what these drivers do when they get into different environments. Just because the team, like Alex Albon's had a fairly decent season in that car, that's not all that competitive compared to Logan Sargent. For me, it's going to be fascinating. If that's where he ends up, it's going to be really neat to see what happens.
NASCAR Canada. Let's big 3-time champion Andrew Ranger won here this past weekend.
Love it. I am a massive Andrew Ranger fan. Not always was in his corner. I still remember a really terrible accident between him and Scott Steckley at Mosport. It's probably 10 years ago, 12 years ago. That was just, it was a massive accident. But getting to know Ranger a little bit over the years, more personally, seeing him, in the campground at like GP3R, or spent quite a bit of time with him last year, after hours at the hotel, with a couple of cocktails, and absolutely just a great guy. And it's been a long time since he put a car in victory lane. So I love that. His spotter, Joe Chisholm, we all pretty much get along up in the spotter stand, but Jojo's one of our favorites for sure. It was last weekend was actually pretty tough. That was the first Pinty's race that I haven't been to in like 6-7 years. So it's really weird to be on the sidelines after.
You're sick, right?
No, because we're only running 4 races. We've only got Alex in the road course events this year. So sitting on the sidelines and having to look at updates and NASCAR alerts coming through by text was it was very strange. And it's also weird thinking I'm not gonna take part in a professional race again until at this pace until August.
Really?
Yeah, till GP3R, unless I get the call from one of the teams when they're out during, and it's likely that somebody will want to try and get me to work as a spotter, not because I'm anything special, but instead of having to buy another plane ticket and another hotel room when they come out west. So, hopefully I can find some work for Wetaskiwin and Saskatoon.
And last thing, I know the karters locally have been growing all the time. What's going on in the karting race world?
Despite my 16 years of experience, I still find ways to do, I've got to be careful. I was going to say bad words. I still find ways to screw with myself and do.
Would you crash again?
I wish. I wish. I don't crash. I
got a video of you crashing into a fence.
You're going to remind them.
That was it's funny because when you have zero brakes that happens.
Yeah.
But no, I did one of the dumber things I think I've ever done in racing last night. It was really the first race I've run this year in my kart with these guys.
Okay.
And I was really focused on, getting the cart where I wanted it. We had, it was a typical night. I qualified second in my group, 10th overall out of 24 cars. Happy with that. Ran fairly well. My lungs still aren't fully recovered, so I had a hard time breathing. But in between heats, I neglected to put any fuel back in my cart. And as we got into heat 2, I had a great start. I was passing carts. I was keeping up with the lead pack. And then I come, to the last 2 corners, and my cart basically feels like the brakes slam on. Sputters. I get on the straightaway, sputters again. The guys who are behind me, they drill me. It's not their fault. And then I was pretty disappointed when I pulled off after 3.5 laps to take a look at my empty fuel tank. So that's
a pretty big matzo ball you're leaving out there, eh?
I never claimed to be a mechanic. I'm a driver.
Oh man, the guys must have been ripping you over there.
I had to apologize to a couple of guys. One when and again, it's not his fault. It's 100% my fault. That when my cart sputtered, he hit me hard enough. Like our front bumpers are designed to push in. So in the olden days, they used to be more solid, and you would get to somebody's bumper and you would nail them to let them know you're there, or to push them out of the way. But if you hit hard enough, the bumper deploys and it'll drag, which result, first of all, you'll generally destroy your bumper, but it also results in a penalty of 5 seconds or grid places.
Sure.
The guy hit me hard enough. Steve Hammond, sorry, Steve, hit me hard enough that his bumper partially deployed, just because it was, when you're coming out of a corner and you're in an acceleration spot, you're not expecting someone to come to to stop. So, So, and then the second time we're on the back straightaway, and our buddy Angelo was setting me up for a pass. I stopped way before, I didn't stop, but the cart stopped. He hit me, I got sent into the grass, and, had to figure out what was going on. But lesson learned, and, I don't hide from my mistakes. I own them. I don't care about sharing them. And, I know I'm going to get my chops broken here going forward, but all in good fun.
Colin, have a great weekend. Enjoy the F1 in Montreal, and we will chat with you next week.
Yeah, and IndyCar Road America.
Yeah. Colin Livingston joins us every Thursday here on Sports 1440. It's the Racing Report, brought to you by Can Torque. When we come back, Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you. We'll get more on the orders. Might even talk a little NBA. Hey, man, the championship begins tonight. It's rather big. You have Dallas taking on the Celtics. So we'll see who you like. We also have Nick Kiprios joining us. Brett Kulak, one-on-one with the Oilers defenseman. That's coming up. Ryan's rant and much, much more. But first, the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. You only have a few days left to save. Big savings on tires right now, including Goodyear. Stop in. 24 set of tires. Get a big rebate at fountaintire.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
Week 1 of the CFL season gets going tonight as the Alouettes travel to Winnipeg, taking on the Blue Bombers. Kickoff 6:30. It continues tomorrow with Calgary, Hamilton. On Saturday, Edmonton and Saskatchewan down at Commonwealth. Kickoff at 2 o'clock. Then on Sunday, BC in Toronto. NBA game 1 of the finals gets going tonight. Celtics host the Mavs. Tip-off 6:30. Right now, Boston 6.5-point favorites in that one. Major League Baseball today, the Jays knocked off the Orioles 6-5. One other final had the Royals getting past the Guardians 4-3 right now. Mariners lead the Athletics 2-0 heading into the 9th. Later today, Pirates host the Dodgers, the Braves in Washington, Yankees taking on the Twins, Cubbies in Cincinnati, St. Louis hosting Colorado, the Rockies, the Red Sox battle the White Sox, and the Padres take on the Diamondbacks. Canadian soccer today, international friendly action. They fell to the Netherlands 4-0. In the WNBA tonight, you got the Commissioner's Cup continuing. The 3-5 Sky take on the 0-9 Mystics in Washington. That gets going at 5. Then at 5:30, the Dream host the Liberty. And at the Memorial, after one round, Canadian Adam Hadwin atop the leaderboard at 6 under par. Scotty Scheffler sitting 5 under. And Canadian Corey Connors right in the mix. He's currently sitting 4 under, along with Xander Schauffele, Ludwig Aberg, and Colin Morikawa. As for the other Canadians in the tournament, Adam Svensson sitting even. Nick Taylor 1 over. Taylor Pendrith 2 over, and Mackenzie Hughes 6 over par. Coming up on the Jason Gregor Show, Hour 3, we'll be joined by former NHLer Nick Kyprios, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update. Pretty good. Gucci.
Really? I did tell TR to check his phone for what it's worth. I assume it was related to that.
Oh, yeah, no, he got
Okay.
Thursday. I love this.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We're excited to announce that we now have machining capacity in-house, quicker turnarounds, improved quality control, and ultimate flexibility. Call 780-436-2000 or email colin@cantork.com to find out more.
Welcome back, baby. It's now 50 hours to a puck drop. Game 1 on Saturday evening. Many of you have lots of time. You're planning your party. You're hosting. Maybe you're going. Maybe you're going to the watch party. Maybe you'll be outside. Going down to OTR. Check it out with Dr. Wank. Think about OTR on a Saturday night. The Order game at 6:20. Right into a Saturday night festivities at OTR. Woo! Pace yourself, boys and girls. Pace yourself. It is the Gregor Show presented by playalberta.ca. And hey, pace yourself there. Always stay within your limits. Use your game sense. Go to gamesense.ab.ca. Jason Gregor alongside Terry Ryan. And TR, I didn't ask you earlier when you go into your speech, which do you decide which pair of cowboy boots you're wearing for your induction speech?
Oh, my alligator skins for sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I've had them since Tri-Cities.
Okay.
Since I played Tri-Cities. I say that like everybody's supposed to know. What an idiot. I've had them since the mid-90s. Yes, I got them out there.
Do you keep like the bottom of them redone or anything?
Yeah.
Or do you keep them in that good
like
a shape?
5 times.
Okay.
I don't wear them every day. Either I wear them at events. I took them to Moncton this weekend. I wear them at events. I don't like suits, so I often, if I have a decent pair of jeans on with those and, a rock tee and
we got to get you
suit
good
jacket. If I wear, I can pull it off. I can pull off jeans at events if I wear those and a suit jacket. It gives you like the free pass. Any other cowboy boots, no. But you got the snake skins on, or we call them snake skins or alligator skin. It's almost like, okay, this guy's trying. They're nice boots.
So you don't have a good suit that you like?
I don't like. I'd rather wear my jeans, cowboy boots, and a suit jacket. I do. Each jacket I have is attached to a bottom, but I don't just buy the jacket. I just
don't like
where
it.
I end up. That's
And
where
now-
I end up.
Hey, nowadays, man, with the different shoes that you can wear with suits, it's a game changer. I find it's. I always liked wearing suits, but now I like them more just because of the footwear that you can.
Well, because people can wear sneakers. Where I don't understand all of that, so I stay out of it. Like I don't understand wearing like jogging pants and slips to like a club, and I don't get it. We used to. It's gonna sound like my grandfather here, but I can't compute that. I consider myself fairly stylish, not right now, but if I go out fairly, not over the top, I have my own style. You wouldn't consider it unstylish, but I still can't put together like going out to a nice restaurant and wearing jogging pants and a hoodie. I can't figure that out. Like, but I know it's something, and I know people got it on, and it's nuts, and you can get away with it now instead of a suit, a hoodie, and again, jogging pants and sneakers. I don't understand that whole side of it. So I'll just go, I'll stay in my lane, but my lane is pretty diverse now, like I got a vibe about me, but it's just not on that side of things.
Now let's get to Ryan's Rant, Terry's Tales, brought to you by Action Electrical, where, hey, they always remind you, if you're thinking about it, you're on the fence, do I want to get some solar for my house? Maybe even for your office, you want to save lots of cake in the long run, you can do it, and you can get 10-year interest-free loan. They'll show you how to help it out and set it all up. actionelectrical.net. Here's TR.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you this story. I have to, because I do think it's going to help people, and it's amusing, although almost frightful. But here we go. So in Moncton this past weekend, I told you how it works, right? You get 20 quote unquote, like celebrities, I guess, people that you're going to choose. 20 teams raise money. If you raise over the course of the year, if you raise the most money, you pick first. Second, you pick second, all the way down to 20. That's the way it works. So, like the team that drafted me, they call themselves Better Than the Bears. Okay. They raised $150,000. So I got drafted to those guys, and some great people there, hockey, like friends, some people I met Ryan Getzlaf for the first time. He's an awesome guy. It was nice. Darcy Tucker, my roommate, was there. Brad May, Matthew Barnaby, Chris Neal, Andre Waugh, guys that I come across at these things. Mike Krushanisky, old Oiler. It's just it's such a vibe. It's such a good time because everybody is there. I've mentioned it on here before, to celebrate hockey, and a lot of them are meeting their heroes. I mean, some of them are my heroes, and I'm in the game. It's just such a privilege to be part of. So, it's right from the draft is a great time. So the boys drafted me on the Friday night. We went golfing earlier in the day, just everybody as a group, have some fun. A few drinks in us, nice bite to eat, and we went to this thing. So by the time 7-8 o'clock rolls around, we go through the draft. They got a big video screen, highlights of each player. For each table has they got food and umpteen amount of drinks there waiting for you when they draft you. So it's a good time. So the boys draft and we have a few drinks. I end up going out that night. Chris Chelios gets up on stage. I got up on stage, sang a few songs with the band. Great time. Everybody, the place is packed. And so then the next day, the games start. So we get to the rink the next day, and I haven't even met, half my team wasn't even at. I just assumed everybody was going to this old triangle. So I went there, and this is where most people were, and it was such a good time. I mean, I just met these guys, so I don't know who's on my team and who's not. So the next day we get to the rink, and they're like, hey, we missed you last night. I'm like, what? So anyway, I'm like, okay, we're going to have a good time. So they're like, tonight we have a restaurant planned. Our team's going, and Matt Barnaby's team's going. And, it's just, they happen to know this guy. It's called Five Bridges. So I said, okay, we're going to play a couple of games, and then we're going to go do that. So I'm telling stories before the game. I'm just getting to know my new teammates. We're playing against Barnaby's team the first game, and they're all saying how we're going to get slaughtered. And, we got like a mix of guys. Some guys are absolute rockets, like real fast. I don't mean looking, I mean like real fast, but no head. And then you've got the guys that are, you can tell there's a hockey IQ, but they're just can't get point A to point B very fast. So like it's a nice mix. But they've got the same kind of team. Now we come out. We not only do we win 10-7, but at the last minute, our goalie Mike Olton comes over and makes a couple of backdoor saves. And he told us before, and he's not like the most technically perfect goalie, but the way he was talking before is that we were going to get lit up. I'm like, hey, he's actually not that bad. And he made a couple of backdoors, like really, like side to side, one on Burnaby that kind of saved the game. We ended up scoring a couple more, but it was 8-7 when he did that. So again, it's not about winning and losing, but it's nice to go out and win with the team that drafted you, right? Because you're having fun. If you get 10 goals, that means we had 10 at least assists. So, you're passing the puck around and you're getting to know everybody. It's a good time. So we go in the room afterwards, okay? And it's great. Now you're really getting to know each other, right? We're going, okay, we got the place booked tonight. We got one more game in an hour. We played at, 10 o'clock, and then our next one was at 1, and then it was over for the day, and we were going to eat and drink and whatever shenanigans were going to happen. So they're asking some stories about Shoresy, and Mike, our goalie, Mike Golton, says his son is 21 and a big fan, so I'm telling some stories. And as I'm in the middle of one of these stories, Mike goes back. He passes out. Now, I think at first he's just acting like it's a bad story, and the joke's on me. But anyway, he goes. And I've seen seizures, but this wasn't one. A lot of people thought, I'm no doctor, but I've seen them, and he was just out. It was just like dead weight. It was craziness. Everybody was kind of in shock, but all of us, like as a group, I guess we knew to just run out of the room and yell. So we were going, medic, we need help. I run out the corridor. I go out into the front area of the place. And anyway, I'm in shock, but there's nobody there. I come back. We're at the Heart and Stroke Foundation. So right outside the room, I didn't realize this, but there was a paramedic with the defibs and everything, and they go in. It takes about 10 minutes. They bring him back. Now, I couldn't believe this. I couldn't believe that they brought him back. Because he was out anyway. Anyway, what ends up happening, and we don't really know. So we're in there, and I'm going, we should probably just go for a bite to eat somewhere as a group, and then hear from him. And sure enough, like a couple hours later, his wife calls and says, he's going to go to St. John. He's going to get some stints in or whatever. But St. John, New Brunswick, being about an hour away, so he's like, there was some good news, and now he's all right. They sent me a picture yesterday of him holding up the jersey. We all get our jerseys, right? So they let me sign mine to him. But anyway, here's the thing. While he was going through it, I don't know. Again, it was shock. I remember my face was so pasty at the end of this ordeal, which was about like a half hour, I guess. And I remember like pressing on my cheek, and it was just a fingerprint of red. Like I was just paste. Well, I'm not saying I'm a victim here or anything. I'm saying if all the other people knew him well and were in shock, if I was in shock, I just can't imagine what these people were going through. But he came back and he's good. I couldn't believe, first of all, you could go 10 minutes without any oxygen. I didn't know that could happen, but apparently, just so people know, like when you're trying to give the CPR, it gets blood flow going. So the blood is going to the brain, even though you're not breathing. I didn't realize that. Same thing when you got the defibs on. But I mean, they were going boom, I couldn't believe how strong. It's like they were punching him in the chest. And finally he comes to. Anyway, it was a wild experience. And it just so happens we were at the Heart and Stroke. Again, we raised money for this 7 years ago. All rinks in New Brunswick, because of the money that we raised at this, got these defibrillators. Like every rink, this was 4 rinks. So there's 4 sets of them. So anyway, they were right next to the dressing room. And I kept thinking, I'm like, man, imagine if we weren't in that situation. If he was driving from point A to point B. But I guess, and I said, it was a bit alarming, but it ended up being a very positive thing because he's good. And we all now that night, you can imagine the team, when we found out he was all right, well, it ended up being a great bonding moment for everybody involved. I mean, I just met them, but certainly those guys and everybody there everybody was very worried. So it ended up positive. But what I took from it is that I'll never do this again. What I often do, what I would have done Monday when I got back, I often, like when I get a lot of messages or I'm really busy or I got 2 podcasts and this show or something. And oftentimes, like tomorrow morning, I'll just take my phone. I might even leave it here, but I'm definitely going to turn it off, go to the side of the highway, take my fishing rod and go like 2K and no one even knows where I am. And I consider that a bit of a vacation for my mind. Turning off your phone is a bit of a vacation. Doing that and going somewhere that no one will ever find you. I like doing that. And I just thought to myself, I'll never do that again where someone doesn't know. I should take my phone, give my PIN to my daughter or my good buddies or whatever, at least a few, and then go from there. But I guess that's the reason I'm saying it, is because in a world that's, it's so, there's so much electronics available. I like to take a break from it all and everything, but there is something that they do that's a very, very positive thing. So I've got this now. I had the watch, but now I've got the better watch that if anything happens, right to me while I have this on and it's charged, then it immediately, meaning if my heart stops, everybody's going to know where I am. Anyway, I just thought it's a decent, because it was a great weekend. It was a lot of fun, and we raised a lot. We raised over $1 million for this, right? Like every year. Last year, almost $1 million. This year, $1.1 million. But I really did. I said to Andrea and Curtis, the people who run it, on the way out, I'm like, I really did learn from that, and it saved more than his life. If it's only me. Now, this is 20 teams full of like 18 people. So, I think we all learned something from it, but just a little note, I used to think, I've talked about it, the watch being just garbage. I'm like, this doesn't do anything. There, now I've found the most important, it doesn't do anything that, count my steps. Come on, I know. I'm tired. I walked 25,000 steps. Surprise, surprise. You know what I mean? I don't need that.
Yeah.
Walking around, I know. But what that is, this is something that's really useful. And now I'm like, okay, I saw it with my own eyes. So if you're listening to this and it can change your life at all, lots of people have heart attacks. Lots of people have strokes, cardio stuff, man. It's like the most common. So I recommend at least always having somebody know where you are.
There you go. Well, glad to hear that he's doing okay. That would be quite the situation. That happened in Edmonton. Literally kind of a similar story where they just put those in defibrillators in a small rink. Maybe it might have been in Edmonton or just outside. I remember reading the story and I was like, man, the timing of that is amazing. And so, it's like to have people around there that know what they're doing with it for sure. So nice. We'll come back and Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley with you in Sports 1440. Nick Kiprios will join us next.
Hey, Edmonton, it's your quarterback, McLeod Bethel Thompson. Elks football is back. The home opener, presented by Pure Later Tackle Hunger, is Saturday, June 8th versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Grey Cup will be in the house to salute 75 years of EE football. Tickets and more at goelks.com.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot.
And Molson Canadian for $4.50.
OTR's TVs, they're so clear.
You'll see the puck better than the ref.
Plus, every game night during Edmonton's playoff run gives you a chance to be part of the Sack Attack.
You could win a Hyman jersey.
This is our year.
And our time to cheer.
Be a part of the legend.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Jasper Ave 118th.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
This is Navin Ramarak, host of Turn Sports. Tune in tonight as we bring a more global perspective into the sports space with Turn Sports from the Universal Radio Network. That's tonight from 6 to 9 on Sports 1440.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk, family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the word. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Hey, Eddie Steele here. If you know me, you know I'm motivated. And what motivates me? Winning? Been there, done that. What motivates me is the smell of fresh baked goodness, the kind you find at Bonton Bakery. As soon as you walk into Bonton, you're greeted with a big smile, a warm welcome, and the aroma. So good. The showcase of their baked goods always means trouble for me, not just because of the selection, but the excellent fresh ingredients. That's Bonton Bakery, 8720 149th Street, open 9 to 5, Tuesday to Saturday.
Garage Superstar.
Edmonton's newest Traeger dealer is Garage Superstore. So if you're thinking, yeah, I need a Traeger grill in my life this summer, then buy now and save up to $250, but only till June 19th. Plus, you can pay later. Ask for details. Garage Superstore is also a place for garage cabinets and other storage solutions, along with vehicle lifts, garage flooring. See their 8,000 square foot showroom with 6 full-size, fully outfitted garages.
Garage Superstar.
Southside Calgary Trail. What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? Great savings when you book a weekday tee time. Join Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club for an 18-hole round and get a $10 discount on your next round. Ask for details. Plus, their out-of-bounds restaurant is a must-try. CattailCrossing.ca.
Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, back with you on a lovely Thursday. How you doing? Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. NHL, we're still, inching closer. We're under 50 hours now to the puck drop of Game 1, the Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. But you do have a little NBA Finals tonight. If you need something to tie you over, they get going tonight. Then, of course, we'll be back on Sunday. So then, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, at least a little stretch of championship sporting action. Let's get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Hockey Super League, a premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development, offering borderless hockey, including provincial and cross-province competition. Go to hockeysuperleague.ca for more information. We are joined now, former NHLer, Stanley Cup winner, and of course, a host on Rogers Sportsnet, Nick Kyprios. Nick, welcome back to the show, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing as we anticipate the most broken down 6-day Stanley Cup final in history?
Yeah, there's definitely lots of angles about it, Nick. It's it's fun. You were part of it, of course. I'm sure the players, you get to a certain point where they're like, okay, yeah, the rest was good, but now I want to go. What's kind of you can tell yourself that, hey, it's just another game, and I understand that, but I'm sure it's easier said than done. What was the biggest challenge just leading up to Game 1 of the final for you?
I think just the distractions, and it's the Super Bowl is a one-day game, but there's that build-up all week where you've got all these distractions, and once again, the media requests will be something that all players will have to deal with, but especially the superstars in this in this series and their time and where to give it and how to commit to what, where, when. You got your PR department helping you out. You got your agent helping you out. And then there's just the gut feel of saying, that's enough, no more. So there's so many different aspects of a Stanley Cup final that's new to you, but, you want to try to soak it in, but at the same time, you got to find a way to win and stay focused and not let all the little things catch up to you to the point where you wake up one day and you're down 3-1 in a series. So it's all new. The Florida Panthers have been there already once last year. For the Oilers, they're going to have to kind of play along as they see fit here.
There's the Oilers have 5 veterans who have been through it. When you were in the Rangers, you guys had lots of guys in your room that had won multiple cups that had been there. So guys can tell you what to expect and everything. Does it help, or do you still have to experience it to truly understand it?
Yeah, I think you do have to experience it for sure. And, everybody's different. Not everybody handles certain scenarios or situations the same. So, unless you've been through it once, you're going to have to just kind of gauge it on your own. But here's the bottom line, that it's once the puck's dropped, it's the same game, whether it's in the Stanley Cup final, whether it's the last game of the regular season or game 1 of a preseason game. It's still the same rules, same regulations, same expectations. Go out there, perform to the best of your ability, and get the job done. So once you kind of just those Zamboni doors shut and all the noise is done with for at least 60 minutes of a regulation game, hey, just go out there and do what you've done 1,000 times before, and that's just play the game to the best of your ability.
Nick, you recently wrote an article, The One Thing Connor McDavid Has That Austin Matthews Is Missing. Can you explain your point of view?
First of all, Terry, great talking to you again, man. How are you?
Hey, you too. I'm doing great. I was going to say the same. I should have.
No issues there, but just I watch you from afar and love seeing what you're doing these days. So fantastic stuff. As far as the article is concerned, to watch McDavid go through what he's gone through, over the course of his NHL career and to get to this point and how he's gotten there. I made the reference of an alpha dog, a guy that can kind of take charge of a room, set the tone, know what to do and say on and off the ice. And McDavid's done it to a T up until this point. And, hopefully it can lead to 7 or 4 more wins for him. But I just felt like, when you compare to some great players, and we know Austin Matthews is a great player, and first of all, it's a Toronto Star article I read on the Leafs. So, I mean, sometimes you're looking for different angles, but one of them that I truly felt and believed is that, experience of Mark Messier in New York and watching from afar great players like Sidney Crosby and Mario and Wayne. There's got to be that one guy, Terry, that's in that dressing room that's taking charge and playing the role of the alpha dog and, leading and trusting, your teammates that they can follow you because you're going to guide them in the right direction. And that's been Connor up until this point. And players like Austin, who are great players, and perhaps even JT Miller and a few others, are still in the process of getting there. But it's a take charge type of thing. And we go 13 months ago where Connor uttered those, I think, hopefully, even more famous words, if they can get 4 more wins, is that, now is the time. It's Stanley Cup or bust. And that's a gutsy move. I mean, it's not guaranteeing a win in a Stanley Cup playoff, but it's kind of close that you would sit there and say, go big or go home. If we don't win, then this thing blows up, but we're in it to win it. And I think the sense of urgency that it gave the teammates, and maybe even the organization, if you want to go back to making a coaching decision, off to a horrific start. All of that can be traced, I'm telling you right now, to Connor McDavid.
Oh, I thought there was some good points, and you're not saying that you can't learn that, but a lot of people that I remember, McKinnon said something like that a couple of years ago. Even Eric Lindros, he didn't win a cup, but he got Philly to the final, and I remember watching him and going, wow, like the players are just lining up behind him, and of course you had the Messier example. No, I was intrigued by it. Now, my second question is selfish, but I hope people find it interesting in some degree. So, when I was growing up, my dad coached the Mount Pearl Junior Blades. We had a guy, Glenn Williams, and his brother Daryl went away to play in the OHL. The 80s was our driest decade for pro hockey players. We didn't have anybody in the NHL from Newfoundland, and there wasn't many people to follow in major junior. Daryl was the only one I knew of, but he's from my small hometown of Mount Pearl. So and then shortly after, John Slaney went to Cornwall in 88, 89. So we had all eyes on the OHL. Talking about playoff experience, North Bay, Oshawa, you guys went 7. I remember watching a guy, thought he'd get 100 goals in the NHL, man. Scott McRory. Anyway, tell us what that journey was like. Because I watched that. I think you had 48 or 49 that year. I remember I watched all those games. And now everybody with Troy Crowder, actually, I was with him last weekend. He's a buddy of mine. There's a lot to unpack. But what do you remember about that series? Because it was a great one.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. So here we are in opposite divisions, and I think we played each other like 17 times that year. Once, 3 times during the regular season, 7-game final in the OHL, and then they made us play a 7-game series to host the Memorial Cup, which they called the Super Series. And you want to talk about guys who just absolutely hated each other, I had this one guy, I don't know what he's doing today, Scott Mahoney. But if I could kill somebody, he would have been it. I guarantee he would have been it back then. But it was fantastic, a great experience. They were a little deeper than us, but it just really absolutely gave me a taste for what could be coming down the pike if I was fortunate enough to play pro hockey, either, in the American Hockey League or the NHL. And what makes our game so great is that passion to win this time of year. And we saw it, with the Edmonton Oilers through Vancouver. And it's just been a great learning experience. And again, just going back to my article today, where there's a guy like Austin Matthews who grew up in Arizona, and there's just no way the culture down there could ever replicate what we, Terry, went through, growing up in our country, and being competitive and learning it at an early age if we're really paying attention to our heroes in the NHL. And again, I think for a lot of guys, sometimes, the light switch goes off early. Sometimes you need 5-7 years. Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't go off at all. But, for some of our great players, including Austin Matthews, who's got the ability to score at will, that aspect of the game needs to catch up to him so he can truly understand the power that he could have over his teammates, upper management, and the fan base and the community. That's what Connor McDavids of the world can do for their respective hockey clubs.
Nick, to take that further, and it might be too simplistic, was, I watch and I see, people talk, and a lot of it comes out of Toronto. Oh, power play doesn't matter. No, power play merchant. I'm like, Alexander Ovechkin's chasing the goal record because he's elite on the power play. Leon Draisaitl's the second best goal scorer in the NHL. He's elite on the power play. And Austin Matthews is kind of just average, even though he's probably the best shooter in the game. So does he need to demand the puck more on the power play? Do they got to be better on their power play? Because everybody knew what Ovechkin was doing. Now, Backstrom's a great passer, and so is Karlsson, so they worked it around. But how can Toronto's power play not have Austin Matthews near the top of power play goals every year? I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's been probably their biggest side pain in the last 3 or 4 years, that they could have one of the most prolific goal scorers in the history of the game, and yet go 1 for 21 against the Boston Bruins in the first round. But like anything else, our game is a wonderful game for our superstars, but you do need help. And when you think of the Edmonton Oilers, you think of Connor McDavid and you think of Leon Draisaitl, but look what Evan Bouchard has done since he's gone to another level on the power play. And, it truly has added the depth and the layers to take, something great out of Connor McDavid and then make it historic. And, there's certain players like Austin that don't have those extra layers. He's got Mitch Marner there, and he's got Willie Nylander, who's a great shooter. But in the back, Morgan Riley just has not been that guy. And it went to the point where they tried to bring in Klingberg last year to help kind of add those layers. So, until you find a guy that can quarterback on the back end and then give those various options between finding a Leon Draisaitl down the goal line, or letting that bomb go, you're not going to be able to give it everything you have on any given night, no matter how good of a shooter you are. And to me, Evan Bouchard on that power play, to me, is the real key there. His ability to find an open guy, find seams, or just let that bomb of a shot go, man. They teams just at this point have not solved it.
Nick, who are you picking in the Stanley Cup final?
You know what? I think it's going to be a real tight one here. I got to think, based on what I've seen, and maybe this is just, and I will tell you, it might just come down to watched Florida a lot closer on the east side than Edmonton. But I just think that that depth and that ability to wear and tear comes into play. I think Bobrovsky is at the point where I don't see a cold spell coming his way. But let me tell you something. Like, this one's going to go 7. I have no doubt in my mind that this one will go 7. And if Edmonton has a little bit of bounce on their side, meaning that, hey, maybe it'll be 12 or 14 shots against Florida, but still find a way to win. Maybe it's being outshot in overtime, but capitalizing on that one opportunity. If there's a little puck luck on Edmonton's side, then they certainly can win a Stanley Cup.
Nick, always good to catch up with you, man. Enjoy the Cup final, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Oh, you bet we will. Okay, guys, anytime. Great talking to you.
Great catching up, buddy.
Take care.
Thank you.
There you go. That's Nick Kiprios from Rogers Sports. It wasn't, I really like this article. Kind of thinks, hey, you know what? Your best players have to be your best players, and you know what? Got to be leaders. And I think Matthews has taken steps, but one of them would be, Now, I will say the one thing I slightly disagree with, because Bouchard's helped the power play, no question, but the power play has been elite for 5 years. And, it runs through McDavid and Draisaitl. Bouchard, what Bouchard's ability to have his shot and his passing, but his shot is it just gives him a new wrinkle. So the one thing about the Oilers power play, and I talked to a guy who didn't want me to mention his name, a penalty killer, who said the biggest challenge the Oilers power play has is just when you think, okay, what some of their tendencies are, they bring out 2 new wrinkles. And I've talked to the Oilers 5 and Glenn Galton, that 5 unit, they've been together now 3 full years, right? Because Hyman's come in, but Nuge and McDavid and Draisaitl have been there for 5 years together. Then you bring in Hyman and Bouchard. And they'll have meetings together, the 5 of them, with Glenn Galton, and they go over, okay, these are some new things we want to bring in. And everybody has an opinion. Well, what about this? What about that? We'll try this here, try that there. And so if they're always evolving, then everybody's just playing catch up TR. And, they can keep finding new things. Like I still remember the game in Nashville when they unveiled that Draisaitl was on his backhand facing McDavid, And then he received it on his backhand, stick handled it, boom, he's on his forehand. No one had done that, which seems like such a simple move, but you hadn't done it, right? Because he's received it on his backhand, look quick, boom, shoot, because he's facing the goalie, right? And it was just like, wow. And then you saw Toronto tried it a few times and some other teams. And then, Draisaitl has been the one that's perfected. His office is a lot lower than Ovechkin's office, but it's just as effective. But he's good at, so other guys are trying to get that shot, but you got to practice it and practice it and practice it and being able to not only hit the angle, but be able to kind of scoop it like he does with that paddle of his, right? Like
you've got to, I've had so many conversations with buddies that were scorers in so many leagues that just think that is astonishing how one thing to do it once in a while. Everybody goes for it once in a while, but he consistently does it. It's a danger zone. And what he's shooting at and where he's shooting it from, it shouldn't be a danger zone at all. And that's why it's so one of the reasons. But another thing, man, Connor McDavid often takes it and starts skating around, and then no one knows what to do. And not every power play does that. I find Matthews and those guys are really static, but a lot of successful power plays are static. But I just find once in a while, it's a rare thing. Patrick Kane used to do it here and there, but they start going, and now all of a sudden everybody's reacting, and this isn't a system anymore, and those guys can react unbelievably, and someone gets open, and Bouchard back there now is just adds another element that is, you can't overplay anybody, right?
Yeah, no, it's very true. Like they got a lot of different weapons, no question. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan with you on Sports 1440. We'll come back. We got 5 questions here on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We got one-on-one with Brett Kulak coming up in the 5 o'clock hour as well.
Let's bring it home. This is Sports 1440.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XC60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Take your bedroom to the next level this spring at The Brick. Our bedroom event deals are here to help you renovate on a budget. Save up to $1,200 off sofas and sectionals and get up to 40% off bedroom furniture and mattresses. Plus, buy more, save more, up to an additional $500 off major kitchen appliances. And get free delivery on purchases of $4.99 or more. Take advantage of these fabulous deals today. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot.
And Molson Canadian for $4.50.
OTR's TVs, they're so clear.
You'll see the puck better than the ref.
Plus, every game night during Edmonton's playoff run gives you a chance to be part of the Sack Attack.
You could win a Hyman jersey.
This is our year.
And our time to cheer.
Be a part of the legend.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Jasper Avon 118.
The postseason is always exciting for hockey fans, but for GS, it's all about construction season. For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community, but they can't do it without the best team possible. GS Construction is scouting for experienced and motivated laborers, pipe layers or pipe layers helpers, lead hands, operators, top men or women, and a water and sewer foreman. Apply today and start working for the 2024 construction season. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
Wendy's Small Frosty is the ultimate summer refreshment. And not because it's cool and creamy and made with fresh Canadian dairy. It's also refreshingly cheap, just 99 cents until July 14th. It's a treat for you and your wallet. Taxes extra at participating Wendy's.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise. In the street, gonna be a big man.
You know what? It's like the ageless song. Never ages. We Will Rock You. Oh, classic tune. So it's like a perfect sports song. Get you fired up. I love it. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Say hello to everybody there as well. Maybe you're streaming it on Sports 1440 Instagram, Orders Nation Twitter. We see it everywhere. We see you. Thanks for watching us. And you can always text us in our eWell inbox, 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. Got a lot of text to get to, but it's time for 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where you can save up to $1,200 off sofas and sectionals. So, hey, you want to watch the big game in style? Do a little shopping tonight and tomorrow at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, a new show coming to Amazon. Behind the scenes NHL players that will be following around, and it has been following around some of the top players: McDavid, Kachuk, Trouba, Draisaitl, Pasternak, Swayman, Hughes, Eichel, Nylander, Phil Forsberg, Landeskog, among others. And it's going to follow the Oilers and Panthers players throughout the Stanley Cup Final. So I want to ask you, of the players listed, who do you think will be the most entertaining?
Well, I mean, Kachuk stands out to me. If it's not, I'd be surprised. And given the past couple of years, Pasternak has surprised me. I think, I don't think there's any real. There might be a lot of surprises on the list, but I think 2 of those guys stand out to me as being possible diamonds in the rough.
Pasternak for sure. Also Draisaitl. I mean, Leon Draisaitl is actually quite funny, and I think Draisaitl is the one superstar that's pretty comfortable in wanting to say some things and having some fun. So I'll be curious about Draisaitl, but Pasternak would be at the top of my list for sure.
Question 2. We saw the Elks unveil their new jersey yesterday, the alternate for the 75th anniversary season. I provided a picture. What do you think of the look?
Oh yeah, I have no issues with it at all. I quite like it. I like the yellow stripes on the shoulders, and I like the yellow number outline on the back. Now I think I've seen that before, but the yellow outline on the back, Edmonton on the front, it's good. I have no issues with it at all.
Combines old and new. Princess loves it too. It's a little bit of classic with a modern twist. I like it.
Question number 3. It looks like we're down to the final 6 names for the Utah NHL franchise: the Utah Blizzard, Utah Hockey Club, Mammoth, Outlaws, Venom, or Yeti. Potentially Yetis. Do you guys have a preference here?
I tell you, I'm not down on HC. Everybody else seems to be, but of the options, I like that. But my favorite, I think, would probably be the Utah Yeti. I like how it goes together. The Outlaws is almost a word scramble. Doesn't sound right. Mammoth, I get it. There's mammoths, but I don't know. To me, Utah Yeti or just Utah HC.
I'm not a big fan of the Utah Hockey Club. This is not soccer. No, thank you. My first choice would be the Yeti because of the potential to the logo, and then I would follow it by the Venom. I actually quite like Venom. So,
question number 4.
What are they getting at snakes there? There's
Oh,
snakes here.
yeah. Yeah, but
Just
let's
like-
be honest. Like there's lots of monikers that don't necessarily go right away at the team, but afterwards it works out well. I just kind of like the venom. So yeah, I don't. There's a few snakes I read up on. There's a few snakes in Utah, a few poisonous ones. Not so much
I
anymore. But,
suppose. I mean, I could see if you were, in a jungle somewhere. But anyway, yes, sure.
Question 4 for you guys. NBA Finals gets going tonight, 6:30. Who's your pick to win? How many games?
Go ahead, TR.
My pick would be the Celtics in 6.
Ooh, all right.
You know why? I think something's going to happen. Everybody's, Kyrie's a new person. He's going to implode. Something's going to happen. He's going to have a bad game, and he's going to freak out on the ref and get suspended or something. This is all too cozy for me. We all know that this guy's a ticking time bomb. At some point, he's going to show up and say the earth's flat, and he's going to have a tinfoil hat on. He might not play the game because there's an injustice in the world. Something will happen in the next 7 games that I think the Celts are good anyway. I would have picked them, but I think it's because of Kyrie Irving implosion.
Ooh, all right. I am going with Dallas in 6 because I think Kyrie has realized that the earth is in fact round like the basketball, and him and Luka are unstoppable in the backcourt.
Okay.
Final question for you guys. The great Cam Neely turns 59 years old. Legendary Bruin. Had some roles in movies. Dumb and Dumber. Me, Myself, Irene. I believe he was in the Dumb and Dumber sequel as well. So outside of TR, of course, who is your favorite athlete to appear in TV or film?
So I had to narrow this down. So is Kurt Russell considered an athlete? Because he was at first, and he did play pro. There's a thing on Netflix. I forget it. Anyway, look it up.
Like, did he play minor pro?
He did, but he's
if he didn't play it, I don't even care if he played 1 shift or 1 minute. To me, if you play in the elite one, then I'm going to say you're pro.
True enough, but I guess he was an athlete first that spilled over because of his dad. But anyway, yes, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Would you consider him an athlete?
Strongman competition, yeah, I guess you have to.
Well, there you go. Carl Weathers, right? The Rock. Are these people? Because if they're on the list, I'd probably have to pick one of them. If not, my favorite recently, would be Mike Tyson. But then I got to ask this: is Bob Uecker on the list? Because if Bob Uecker's on the list, I'm going to go with Bob Uecker, not just because of Major League, but Mr. Belvedere. It's 6 seasons of TV, man. Like that's not easy to pull off when you're just coming right. And if it's not a pro athlete, you can count him as because he did play some pro, but for me, he was more on the athletic side, even when he was announcing. And I thought it was just out of nowhere that he did Mr. Belvedere.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. I am, those are some pretty good ones. I'm going to go with Jim Brown.
Okay.
Old school. It's one of few of my dad's favorite movies. So I'm going to go with Jim Brown, man. He was, when he was, his scene, if you go back, The Dirty Dozen's obviously one of my favorite movies of all time. My dad introduced it to me. I absolutely love it. But I don't know if people remember the importance of his scene with Raquel Welch and just, interrelation on the screen and how big of a moment it was in society at the time. So I will go with Jim Brown.
Interesting. Okay. It must have come after Kirk, Captain Kirk.
No, it came before.
I guess, Jim. Yeah, sorry. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Came before. I noticed that the other day. I was watching old Star Trek, and I was like, "Ooh, an interracial kiss!" And what's this? 1960 what? I didn't realize. Whoa, way ahead. I thought that happened in the 80s. Anyway, go ahead, Connor. Sort of cut you off.
I'll go kind of off the grid here. One who's maybe not too popular, starring in movies in North America, but maybe to some. Vinnie Jones, former soccer player. I remember seeing him in Eurotrip as that hooligan, and then saw him in a few more things. Gone in 60 Seconds and Snatch as well. Kind of worked his way up. Well, Snatch might have been an even bigger role than those other ones, but whenever you see him, I'm like, this guy looks kind of badass. I think he fit the role of the hooligan so good in Eurotrip, and then just continued into other movies. So I enjoy him in whatever he's in.
All right. Okay. That's fair. TR, have yourself a great weekend. When we return, it'll be 2 games in the Stanley Cup final in the books. So we will have lots to dissect next Tuesday. What's coming up? A little teaser on Shoresy Friday.
This is my favorite episode we've ever done. It'll be out real shortly. I think it comes out at midnight Eastern, I think.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, it's by far, this was tough to get through. It'll explain why I'm half bald while four of us are.
Okay.
It's basically, this episode is basically the no-show record party that they're all say we never want to ever get that drunk again.
Okay.
You're gonna find out.
We're going to find out. This is like a real life recapture of many of Terry Ryan's young party days is essentially what I'm hearing.
It definitely, there's parallels. I think everybody will get something out of this if you've ever just lived in Canada, especially if you've gone to a party, hockey party, Canadian party, whatever. People are going to identify, and they're going to, I don't know, but I love it. I think this was definitely the most fun to shoot, and hopefully it spills over. It often spills over. Well, like that, not to go on, but the truck commercial I was trying to tell you about that we were doing. You can see how that would have taken a whole morning, right? Like that was just like, are you kidding me? Well, this was even funnier to film ourselves.
Okay. Well, hey, looking forward to it, TR. That's quite the tease. I like it. It's nice. Awesome. So that'll come out later on tonight. Check it out. Have a great weekend. We will chat with you on Tuesday.
Sounds good. There'll be a lot to talk about then. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Edmonton. I'll catch you guys on the rebound.
That is Terry Ryan, the blinker. I like it. We'll get to the con man coming up. We got Speck as well as Brett Kulak here on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. The Con Man Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. And you can visit Booster Juice today for the new mixers, cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. Download the Booster Reward app today and order one only at Booster Juice.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Week 1 of the 2024 CFL season kicks off tonight as the Alouettes travel to Winnipeg, taking on the Blue Bombers. That'll start at 6:30. Of course, the Elks get going on Saturday, 2 o'clock, when they host the Rough Riders. In the association tonight, it is game 1 of the finals. Celtics host the Mavs, tip-off 6:30 in that one from Boston. In the majors, the Jays picked up the win over the Orioles, 6-5. They're back in action tomorrow, kicking off a series against the Oakland Athletics. All of the games Saturdays and Sundays right here on Sports 1440's radio feed only. Elsewhere, the Royals knocked off the Guardians 4-3, and it was the Mariners over the Athletics 3-0. Right now, in the top of the first, the Dodgers have a 4-0 lead over the Pirates, and in the second, scoreless between the Nationals and the Braves. Later tonight, Twins take on the Yankees, Reds host the Cubs, Rockies in St. Louis. Got the Battle of the Sox from Chicago, and the Padres hosting the Diamondbacks. Men's soccer international friendlies, Canada fell to Netherlands 4-0 earlier today in the WNBA. We've got the Sky and Mystics meeting in 3 minutes. Then at 5:30, the Liberty take on the Dream in Commissioner's Cup action at the Memorial. After one round, Canadian Adam Hadwin atop the leaderboard at 6 under. You've got Scotty Scheffler at 5 under par, and then a tie for third at 4 under par, Colin Morikawa, Ludwig Aberg, and Xander Schauffele, as well as Canadian Corey Connors. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and a one-on-one that Jason Gregor had with Oilers defenseman Brett Kulak. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Warmer, brighter days can make you crave something to sip. Booster Juice is busting out booster mixers, the summer fixers. Cold, tasty sippers in 5 vibrant varieties. The Mango Teaser, Berry Teaser, Almighty Acai, Game Set Matcha, and Oranges and Cream. Try all 5 and brighten your day a sip at a time. And try the Cookies and Cream Booster Ball, the yummy little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Hi, Brad McCory here. It's May, and that means it's time for our biggest sale of the year. We're practically giving away. Take our 2023 Ram 1500 Classic that was $59,000. Now, just $44,000. Yes, we're giving with savings up to $15,000 and an available 0% financing for 60 months on our new 2024 Ram 1500 Sports. We really are giving away. Hey, why do you keep bleeping me? I was just saying we were giving trucks away during our biggest sale of the year. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
From bench to bench, sport to sport, Elite Promotional Marketing will help take your teamwear to the next level with a wide selection of uniforms, apparel, and promotional products. So when you want your team to look elite, head to elitepromomarketing.com.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks want to be your wingman during turning singles into doubles night on Monday, June 10th. Featuring dating fun with love at first light. Get your tickets today to watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca.
The Brick's fabulous 96-hour sale is back. Check out amazing deals for 4 days straight. From Friday to Monday only, find incredible savings in every department. Save up to 25% on love seats, recliners, and dining furniture, as well as up to 30% off home entertainment furniture and fireplaces. Visit The Brick this weekend to take advantage of these special prices during the 96-hour sale. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Debt. Most of us have it, but it's the last thing we want to talk about. When we're struggling, we need someone to talk to. We want to be heard without judgment.
Coming up
My
on
name
the
is
five.
Parveen Middleton, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I talk with people about debt every day. I can help you find the solution to fit your situation. Talking about it is the first step to relief. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Lucky 49. Hey, maybe any of you win yesterday? I don't think so. Let me double check. I think there was a winner in Lotto 649 last night, which means the jackpot just grows. Why am I asking 49? Yeah, it's up to 62 mil now. You could be the Raphael Lavoie winner. Why not? 49 hours till puck drop, baby. The countdown is on. Seems to be a while, but don't worry. Maybe you go to the Elks 75th dinner party tonight. They got lots of events going on tomorrow. And then, of course, if you're going to the Elks game on Saturday, and by the way, do you want to go? We got some tickets. Give away a few prime seats for Saturday's game, 2:00 kickoff, which will give you a lot of time to get home and be prepared for game 1 of the Oilers and the Florida Panthers. So we get to the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. And hey, you know what? It's a busy time for them. Hey, the rain doesn't slow them down. They are busy. They're still looking for quality people who want to work. Go to Indeed.com and look up GS Construction. 50 years in the biz. Great company with great benefits. And they love promoting people from within. So you start out, you work your way up. GS Construction. As Mark Spector joins us. Spec, how was the flight to Florida? I'm guessing a little bit more enjoyable than the flight to Dallas.
Well, it's a long flight. You know, she's a sort of 10 hours door to door, whether you, even when it goes right, but I will say it went right. And here we are. I'm standing here in Hollywood, Florida at a hotel and ready to talk some hockey, man. Let's go.
Do you get a sense of what it's like in Florida yet? Like how big of a deal is this for Panther fans? Like, you know, second year in a row, I got to think that they realize this is kind of a big deal.
You got to hope so. Like, I won't, you know, I'll come clean. I've been in town for an hour and I'm at a hotel here, nowhere near their rink. So I saw a guy with a Panthers coffee cup. That's all I got for you. So, but no, like, you know, everything I hear, I just had a bite to eat with our Toronto reporter Luke Fox, and he's covered a couple of Panthers series, and he said it is. The rink is good, and there's some action outside of it. You know, they did here, Jason, what no one should ever do. They had cheap land and they built a rink. It's a really nice rink, but it's really far away from everybody.
Yeah.
So they did that Ottawa thing. They did that, you know, the bad idea to build a faraway rink, and that's what they did. And it does hurt them because they don't really have a town. Sunrise is this tiny little community. They're close, you know, they're 30 minutes from Fort Lauderdale, but they're not Fort Lauderdale's team, and they're certainly not Miami's team. They're kind of no one's team here a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's, you know, location does matter for a lot of people, especially if you're not necessarily in a vibrant community at all. Yeah. But, you know, they've been good. The fans will come. We've seen their fans come. And, you know, I think, you know, unless they ever move someplace different, it's kind of like Arizona. The difference is it's run a little bit better and they've had more success, especially lately than Arizona. So that will help them. They got an ownership group. They've always had better owners in Florida. That's the other thing. Spec guys with, you know, pretty deep pockets going way back. So that obviously helps them. I look at the Panthers and the orders, and you know what? Is Nick Kipros, we had him on earlier, kind of joke, you know, like it's almost overanalyzed at this point. So I don't really want to necessarily talk about, we've talked about I don't know if there's unless you can think of one, unless there's an angle you think we haven't discussed, because I think we've discussed every angle. I want to more so look at individuals, players, and say, okay, like, you know, Broberg's going to start the series. Do you expect him, like, what would it take for Desharnais to get back in your eyes?
Well, first of all, it would be if the penalty kill gets leaked. To me, that's the first thing, because Desharnais' biggest strength and the big, tall, what do they call players today? Long, right? Yeah. He stretches out that stick. He covers a third of a zone. So to me, that's the first thing. If the penalty kill isn't what they want it to be, the first solution might be, what about that Desharnais guy? He's 6'7". If Broberg doesn't handle the physical play, and I have no reason to believe that he won't, but this is a team like playing Vancouver. We've said it a million times. When you retrieve a puck here in Florida, it's probably going to come with some guy running you. So I think Broberg is quick enough and smart enough to make his puck retrievals and be okay with that. That's not about size. That's about skill and will. If for some reason he's coughing it up under those situations, then I'm going to say maybe I want my big guy back there who can take a hit a little bit more. I won't say Broberg's on a short leash, but I think he's like a lot of guys on this team. The guys who aren't playing are good players in Edmonton now, right? Fogel's not playing. He's a 20-goal man. Mm-hmm. Desharnais played 82 all year. He's not playing. So you don't have to play bad to come out. You just have to play a little bit less than good. And there's a guy waiting to take your job here.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Up front, Kane comes in, I assume. What do you do? Like, do you play Warren Fogle? Like, Warren Fogle had a really good year. Right. And Warren Fogle can skate. And like this series seems to kind of be more suited for him. Do you put Fogle in your bottom six, or do you keep Corey Perry in your bottom six?
Well, if the lines turn out to be the way they were the other day, with McLeod on left wing, Ryan or Carrick at center, and Perry on the right wing. Yeah. I'm not sure that I love that line much. I'm not sure what Corey Perry's doing on that line, really. I'm not sure how he's going to be Corey Perry on that line. So that, to me, tells me if that's where I'm using Corey Perry, I might rather use Fogle in that spot, personally. Mm-hmm. I think, I think the coolest thing about Knobloch, what he's kind of taught everyone here, is depth doesn't mean jack if you don't play your depth, if you don't use your depth. It's awesome to say we got 14, 15 forwards, but if you run the same 12 guys out every night, who cares who 13 and 14 are? It doesn't matter. This guy's used them. So he takes healthy guys out of his lineup and puts other guys in a strategic fashion, and it's working, and it's smart. And I've covered a lot of hockey here, and most coaches get stuck with just playing the same 12 guys, or maybe they'll swap out a Delandria for a Smith or something like Craig Smith, like Dallas did, but he's switching guys. So I bet you Fogle gets into this thing. And frankly, I'll bet you Desharnais gets into this thing too at some point.
Yeah, I won't be surprised, I think, to see either one of them at some point get a shot in the series, which would be fine. And like none of them have played that poor where you're like, oh, you can't put them back in. So
no, I mean, fresh legs. And you know what? Maybe you leave Corey Perry in. And maybe you give, maybe it's McLeod, who's the left winger that, Fogle skates pretty much as well as McLeod, and he's bigger than McLeod, and he's way more physical than McLeod. I'm sorry. He's way more physical than McLeod. So maybe Fogle replaces McLeod. Why does he have to replace Perry?
That's possible. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. So yeah, we've lots of different guys can come in or out. I don't know. And maybe it's the speed factor. I look at McLeod and and that speed kills at times in this series. And I kind of like, I will say this though, I do think that Henrique, Brown, and Janmark are now the third line to start the series.
They are, and there you go. There's Connor Brown's pushed his way up the lineup. Like, there you go. Like, I love the fact that you got guys pushing from below it. Fogel's trying to push his way into the top 12, and Connor Brown's trying to push his way in the top 9. And why do you think you're good, right? That competition, man, that's got so much. You got 7 defensemen. It's got so much to do with why the Oilers are good, is the constant pressure from below that keeps all these guys playing their rear ends off so they can keep their job. It's an awesome part of this team.
Mark Spector joins us. What about Dylan Holloway? Right, like he's a young player. It's hard to put him. What's your expectations of him in this series?
Good question. It is a good question. Like, I guess I'll say this to you, Jay. If you're in my top 6, I don't care how old you are. You got to produce. Top 6 guys produce. Don't tell me you're just hanging around the top 6 and just being a guy. If you're playing with Leon Draisaitl, like, something's got to happen. If you're playing with Leon Draisaitl, I think, and I know, maybe the conversation is it fair to have Dylan Holloway under those expectations? And we can have that conversation, but as long as he's on the second line with Draisaitl, I expect goals and assists from him. That's what I expect. What about you?
Yeah, I don't need a ton of them, but yeah, I would like a little production from Dylan Holloway. If you're playing, because hey, look, last series when they put McLeod and Perry with Draisaitl, they produced. Right now, 1 goal every 3 games. So that's all I'm expecting. Like, I think Dylan Holloway, I had a good conversation with him in the room. I think he understands like who he's playing against, right? Kachuk and Bennett. He's a big man. He's thick. Kachuk's no bigger than him. I know Bennett's probably a little bit more aggressive physically, but Holloway's second on the Oilers in hits. I've liked his physicality, and I just think he's a guy like, to me, his style is suited for him to be heavily engaged and heavily involved in this series.
Yeah, you're right. Like, Edmonton's not the most physical team. And, I'm not going back to this conversation. We've had it a lot, but I mean, everyone is going to tell you that Florida stacks up was a little more physical than them, as was Vancouver. So the guys you have that play like Holloway, they're important.
Yes.
Right? Evander Kane, man, he's got to bring it here. He's got to bring it. Like, they need every ounce of physicality that Evander Kane can bring. Same with Holloway, and maybe if we all are going to kind of quietly agree that he's not going to be a big points guy. He's not going to score a bunch of goals. He's not a huge playmaker. Well, man, then you better bring what you do, and you better bring it to the dance here. He better, this is a guy that has to get in on the forecheck and knock some pucks loose and get him as fast as he can to Draisaitl so something might happen with him. So, yeah, he's got maybe that's his form of production, Jay. Maybe it's, I hate to relieve a top 6 player of having to get some goals and assists here, but I'll tell you what, if he's not banging and knocking pucks loose, then I'm not sure what he's doing for you.
And lastly, Spec, when we look at individual players, Darnell Nurse for me is a player who a lot of this series, it might sound crazy, and I'm saying this, I want to preface it because I expect McDavid and Draisaitl, they're going to do their thing, right? Hyman, they're going to produce. There's no question about it. But I look at Darnell Nurse, he can't be -4 or 5 in the series, right? Nope. He just can't be. You can't always be bad luck. It can't always be bad luck.
Right.
And I look at him, it's funny because I thought in games 4, 5, and 6, he played very well. In the first 2 goals he was on against where he had nothing to do. So whatever. But the rest of the game, like, to me, I look at Nurse. He's their biggest, especially with Desharnais out. He's their most physical defenseman by far. He's their biggest defenseman. He's their best skater. He's strong. He can jump up in the rush. He can do everything. He doesn't have the elite offensive of Bouchard, but he's got some, right? I think Darnell Nurse can be an effective defender when he uses his speed and aggressiveness properly, which he did in games 4, 5, and 6. And it might be too simplistic, but I think if Darnell Nurse has a really strong series, Edmonton wins the cup.
No, I think he can be, if his game is, I mean, you describe it perfectly. If he's a really good player and has good numbers, that will bode really well for Edmonton, because remember, like, he doesn't play power play, but he barely plays with your top guys. He never plays with McDavid almost.
Yeah.
Plays some with Draisaitl's line, but he's always on with the bottom guys who aren't scoring. Thus his plus minus. You mix in some really unlucky plays. He's been on for every bad goal Skinner's let in, and you mix in a couple of bad games that he's had for sure. I'm not saying he hasn't. So what you're telling me is if he comes out of this series and he's one of your best players, that means you've been playing really, really well as a team. The other thing you got to remember, there's going to be some after the whistle stuff around here, and there's going to be a need for some big 6'4" defenseman to skate into the pile and pull someone out and get him off of a McDavid or get him off of a whoever, right? Get him off of a Bouchard or whatever the guy is, the skill guy. And that's where Nurse comes in. He's outside of Darnay, I'm going to tell you, he's probably your biggest, strongest guy.
Oh yeah.
And he's got to be your policeman out there too. And he can do that, but it's playoffs and you got to be careful, man. You can't be the one the ref picks out of the pile. So there's a skill to it, but that's a skill he's got to get good at and quick here, because they're going to need him.
Mark Spector joins us on Sports 1440. Lastly, Spec, best place to go in Florida for restaurants. What's on the list?
For restaurants? Oh, man, I only know the bars. To be honest, we just went to a little place. There's a lot of French-Canadian Quebecois that come down here. And there's a little place across the street called Le Tub, like the tub. It's a little tiki bar. It was awesome.
Okay.
The little Jimmy Buffett place down the road I intend to get to at some point. There's an old favorite here called the Elbow Room.
I've been there.
Lauderdale. Everybody knows it. So, hey, it's a beach town. Like, I'm basically a block away from the beach, and every beach has got lots of good bars. So I don't plan to go too far, my friend. Not tonight, anyhow.
Well, it's a good walking distance, Spec. Pace yourself, and we will chat with you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. When we come back, Brett Kulak will join us. How long has it been since he played right defense? Find out that and the biggest challenge coming up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Join KidSport Edmonton's Bids for Kids, presented by GS Construction, June 19th, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Bell in Scona. Celebrate 29 years of KidSport with 90s attire encouraged. Tickets are $75, including entry into a mountain getaway draw. Enjoy a night of sports talk, appetizers and bevies, silent auction, 50/50, and a beer tree raffle. All funds raised support local KidSport Kids registration fees. Visit KidSportBids4Kids.com for tickets. Event is 18+.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin, one that grills, and a hash brown and a small
We roll through a lovely Thursday afternoon. How are you, Gregor? Halley, with you. I know many of you are making your way down to the Elks 75th dinner tonight. Have fun, enjoy it. If you're a football fan, man, that will be Elks football royalty, the green and gold. Many of their greatest players, lots of big name alumni in attendance tonight as they kick off the 2024 season, which, you know what, it'll be a memorable season, regardless of what happens on the field. Obviously, they hope it's a better season there, but there's going to be a change of ownership most likely at some point. They'll announce that this summer. And you know what, that'll become, for the first time in franchise history, privately owned. And you know, we'll see where it goes from there. But it's, I think it's time. It's been a real successful run as community owned, but really a not-for-profit is what they officially are. And we'll see where they go. Now, let's go inside the room as we caught up with Brett Kulak, who finds himself on the right side with Darnell Nurse to start the Stanley Cup final. And I caught up with Brett. We talked about a variety of different topics.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you like to think you can get there every year, but it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of things to go right to get to the final. And, you know, I've been fortunate enough to now, this is my second time going to the final, but like you say, to do it with the Oilers and my hometown team. And it's more important for me, and it's extra special for the family and everybody involved for sure. And you don't take it for granted. So yeah, you got to, you know, as the player and the guy who's performing on the ice, you do your job and you focus on things, but you enjoy it in a different way than maybe a fan would. You know, they can get involved in the highs and the lows and everything that gets talked about, but it's a different perspective from the player, and you but definitely take time to enjoy it and be grateful for the opportunity to get the cup.
When was the last time you played right defense regularly?
Definitely since before junior. So yeah, it's, you know, every now and then you may get popped to shift in over there or whatever, but as far as playing a full game and 3 games in a row, it's been well over 10 years. So yeah, it's been a change, but you know, it's good. It's a good opportunity to work on my game, and it challenges me in different ways and just makes me a better player at the end of the day.
What did you find was the toughest adjustment in game for you?
Yeah, I think it's just getting past your mind, thinking, okay, I'm on the right side. This is how I should do things as a right D. I think it's just getting past that and just playing the game and letting your body kind of do what it naturally wants to do, where it wants to be, instead of trying to talk yourself into what position I should be in or where I should be on the ice or how I should receive passes or things like that. So I think it's just getting past that and just getting into the flow of the game and just playing. It made the game easier and got more comfortable as it was going on.
Skating is one of your biggest strengths. Was there any part of you that was Zoolander a bit? Can't go right because you're always, you know, when guys are attacking, you're always turning to your left. Usually as the left defender. Is that a slight adjustment at all for you?
Oh, for sure. I think again, it's just the muscle memory. You know, I've been doing it for a long time, just on the left side all the time, and your reps are totally different. You're pivoting whatever different ways. You're getting pucks in different areas, and so the game really totally changes. And so it's big just for the brain, because when you're on the left side and you've done it for so long, there's just lots of habits and lots of just natural things that you do because the experience has just brought you to that point. But it's a little bit of starting over in a lot of things when you go switch sides, for sure.
When Coffey or Knobloch, whoever it was, went to you and said, hey, I want you to play the right side. Obviously, you know, you would do anything to win. So I don't think there's any hesitation. But after the fact, when they were gone, you sat down, you're just like, all right. Like, was there any nervousness at all for you to go to the right side?
No, I don't think nervousness, just you know, it's a change over there, and the game it happens differently. So, but like you say, you accept anything they want you to do, and being over there has brought more opportunity as well. And minutes have been up, which is really nice, and gets in the game more and everything. Anytime you can play more minutes, it's a good thing. So, yeah, there's been lots of positives come from it.
And now looking ahead to this series, Florida's a team that, you know, a very aggressive forecheck from their forwards. Matthias Ekholm talked about, well, the benefit of that is if we get past them, then we can jump up at the rush more. But you've been used to guys forechecking your whole life and being aggressive. But the Dallas series wasn't really like that. Is there going to take a short time to get used to that, do you think, at all?
Yeah, I think so. It's each series, every team has been, actually quite a bit different in their playing styles. So you make the adjustments to talk about them before, but it's not until the puck drops where you can really start working those and feel those. So yeah, it'll definitely be an adjustment. Like you say, Dallas was so structured and they were just all came up the ice as a unit, defended as a unit, forecheck kind of as a unit, and they had their plan. Where I think Florida's just more aggressive. They can get, there's more relying on an individual out there to work hard and get in and disrupt plays. And but yeah, like you say, if we can break that down, absorb the pressure and keep pucks moving and just be simple with it, getting out of our zone clean, I think we'll the rest of the game will take care of itself.
And lastly, from an experience standpoint for you, being the second time through, do you notice a big difference for you as far as maybe you're calmer than you were that first time? Just to be like, okay, it's a cup final. This is obviously big, but it's not as big as I thought it was the first time.
Yeah, I think so. It's again, you just progress over your career no matter what, but going through the finals a couple times, it's a different animal for sure. And there's just I think just the outside noise and the outside pressures goes to another level. So it goes back to kind of just focusing and remembering you're the player. Your job isn't to be involved in any of that, and it's just every day you want to work in your game. We talk about that as a team. We want individually you want to get better, and as a team you all want to get better every day, and that remains our focus. And the game, the play and performance takes care of itself.
There you go, Brett Kulak. So hasn't played the right side since before junior, and it's the muscle memory factor. And him and I had a conversation afterwards, just about it. And he said, you know what? He actually was quite happy. There's obviously the benefits of every defenseman will tell you at certain times if there are benefits of playing on your off wing. Moving the puck up because now he has his stick in the middle of the ice, right? Because he's on his forehand, right? And so he's not up against the boards as much. So he feels like that can be a benefit when you're skating out or you're in the corner. You feel like, you can see a little bit more of the ice. Now, obviously, the counter to that is sometimes when you go to get a puck, going back for it, well, now you're going to be on your backhand a little bit more. And trying to keep pucks in at the offensive blue line is where you really got to work on. He said either got to get your body up against the boards, but you got to be good. So he just spent some time in practice just on rings arounds, getting it on his backhand, quick to his forehand. You just got to work on that because you think about it. When was the last time you ever worked on that? There's no reason to, right? You always play the left side, ring around, it's coming on his forehand. So small little things that, obviously they're best players in the world. So, they'll figure it out, but we'll see. Hey, Gregor, can we watch that 30 for 30? Yeah, it was on TSN. That's where I saw it last night. So I'm sure if you even go to tsn.ca, a lot of times their things are there. If you have it Shaw on demand, right, you can go back and watch shows that have already played live on TV. So I would say that's it there for sure. Hey boys, Sean Connery was a Mr. Universe. What? Is that true, Connor? You looked that up. I did not know that from Beach Goat. Who knew? Definitely not me. So, hey.
He was third in 1950.
Okay. Third.
Most sources placed him in the 1953 competition.
Okay. 1953, third.
But he didn't place in the tall man classification.
Oh, he was. So what is he? He was in the average man competition?
I don't know.
Oh, nice. I like it. Hey, Gregor, I totally agree about Nurse's importance in this series. How does it work? Will the coach have one-on-ones and verbally express this directly to him so there's no confusion around expectations from GM Parisian? I don't know if they would say, hey, Darnell, you have to be great. You always have to be careful in how you word things, right? You want to say, I do know that Paul Coffey challenged him. And when I say challenge him, it's not like, you got to be better. That's not how coaches do it. Coaches say, hey, this is what you're capable of. We need you to play up to your capabilities, and let's go through some things. You look at it and say, hey, we need you to be better, right? I think coaches can be direct because the truth is most players know. Well, at least you don't stay in the NHL if you're delusional about how you're playing. If you think you're playing well and you're not sticking around very long. It's that simple. Now, every now and then there might be a time where a player thinks he's playing well, and the coach and them might be like, we're going to have to show you some video, show you some clips, be like, well, you know what? Maybe not as playing as well as you think. right? Because there are some times where players playing well and bad things are happening that's out of their control. That happens. And there was a few goals, yes, that were completely out of Nurse's control. I get that. But it was Nurse had 11 hits in the entire Vancouver series. 11. He had 12 hits in one game against Dallas. And no one would confuse the Dallas series as being as physical as the Vancouver series. No one. And Edmonton had the puck a lot in game 4. Right? They were down 2-0 early, but after that, they dominated. So it can't always be, well, you have more hits because you don't have the puck. Not true, right? Because the offensive team is going to have the puck sometime. Like, that's just a fact. They're going to bring the puck in the zone. So you got to step up on them. If you're backing in, guess what? Zero chance to be physical. And anybody who watches the game closely would have seen a big difference in Nurse's play, in his aggressiveness with going as, who was it? Todd McClellan, be on your toes. Right? If you're on your heels, well, now you're not going forward. And Nurse was on his heels. It's probably a little bit of a lack of confidence. You start, got to play safe. You're thinking that doesn't work. Right? And Paul Coffey's a big believer in playing safe is for losers. Right? You can play smart, but if you play safe, your chances of losing increase significantly. So that's how you look at what the Oilers need from Nurse. He's more than you're not asking Darnell Nurse to do things he's not capable of. Right? It'd be like, well, Philip Broberg, you've got to be our go-to guy. That to me would be unrealistic. Darnell Nurse in November, December, and January was the Oilers' best defenseman. He was excellent. But once you got to February, coming out of the All-Star break, I don't know what happened, but whatever happened, his game kind of started to go downhill a bit. But and as we saw before, you can get it back. I thought it went deeper in the ditch in the playoffs, but he drove out of the ditch in game 4, back on the road. I thought he was excellent in game 5 and 6 against Dallas. And knowing Paul Coffey and listening to the players, how he'll show you positive clips way more than he'll show you because he wants to remind you, you're good. Here's why you're good. Right? Like, remember when we had Vincent Desharnais in studio for an hour and he talked about Coffey, sat him down. Because usually, some coaches are in film room. Hey, here's Darnell clearing the puck out. Okay, guys, we need you to do that. And there's something different about seeing someone else do it when all of a sudden the coach, hey, Vinny, here's you doing the play that we know you can make. And he shows you video of it. And all of a sudden you're like, damn, I can do that. Right? Like if you were parents and you could video some of the things that your kids do, because when they question it, and all of a sudden you could have it, hey, look, here you are. You just did it. Well, no, I didn't. Well, here you did it. Right? Like the doubt's gone. Well, it should be because you just showed them that they can do it. And that's what Coffey was quite good at. But he's also, you got to remember who his first head coach was in the NHL. It was Glenn Sather. And Paul Coffey very honestly said at times he butted head with Slats. He didn't like how he challenged, but he realized as he got older that Glenn Sather made him better because he didn't let him just settle for a certain level of expectation. He says, you're capable of more. You can be more consistent. You can be this. You can be that. And he challenged him. And it's not easy. Trust me, it's not easy to do. But it worked. And it's up to the player to react. So, you know what? Like, Darnell Nurse can't walk away and be like, what does Paul Coffey know? Right? You can't do it. Like, you should never do it to any coach that you have. But you definitely probably can't be able to do it to a Hall of Fame guy who's won multiple cups, who's won, the Canada Cup, which is essentially the Olympics back then, right? So Darnell Nurse, to me, huge importance. Just like Cody Ceci. Cody Ceci's got to play like he did in the Dallas series and the last 2 games of the Vancouver series. He's been very good. In Dallas, no one of the 8 Oilers, the guys who are minute eaters, and that's Cody Ceci. He played over 100 minutes 5-on-5 and the penalty kill. Guess what? 2 goals against. That's all he was on the ice for. The whole series, 5-on-5. You do that, your odds of winning. Don't give me expected goal garbage. I don't care. It means nothing. All that matters in the Stanley Cup final is goals against in that game. That's all that matters. You get outshot and you're blocking shots. Who cares what the expected goal is? It doesn't matter. Because if you're not getting scored on, that reflects on the scoreboard. It just does. You have to change how you analyze the cup. It's all about individual plays. And you know what? Are you getting scored on? Now, sure, you don't want to get hemmed in time after time after time, but he didn't do that against Dallas. We didn't see that. So, because you might have one bad shift where the other team gets 4 or 5 shots on it, right? The rest of the game, you're even. Well, you still get outshot 10-5, and everyone's like, oh, you had a terrible game. Well, no, it might be one bad shift. So you always have to dig in deeper, especially when you're looking at the analysis here in the Stanley Cup final. It's not about you can't play the averages. In a long season over a few years, things will average out. Hey, if this guy's constantly getting outshot, probably not going to work for us. But that's not the case in the Stanley Cup final. That's what makes it great. 5:38. We'll return. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger with you on Sports 1440. If you quick one, say, guys, don't forget about the offside one-timer for Kulak with the game-winning goal. Well, we'll see from Thunderbeard. Yeah, can't hurt. Hey, boys, the Oilers need to disrupt and be more aggressive in the neutral zone to stop the F1 entry. One way to neutralize their aggressive forecheck from Stanley. Well, I thought Edmonton does a great job of limiting the rush, right? Like, I don't know if you can take, like, I'm not saying you're worried about, what you do worry about is making sure you have a third forward high in the offensive zone and not having turnovers at the offensive blue line that leads to rushes, whether they're odd man or even rushes the other way. But Florida is not a dominant team off the rush. They're very good down low, right? They want to, it sounds kind of counterproductive, but at times you might want them to carry the puck through the neutral zone more rather than chip and chase because that's their bread and butter. So, each team has different strengths. You're obviously still better. Any team is better with possession of the puck. You just are. So, it's going to be fun. I can't wait. Thankfully, we're under 48 hours. Actually, no, we're not. 49. Just under 49. It's getting closer. We'll return on the Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Try the new extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra-large New York-style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now. The extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza for just $22.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
It's City Ford's spring clear out event. Get massive discounts, 0% financing, drive now, pay later. Get up to $10,000 credit card cash. Just pick what's best for you.
During this event, get massive discounts up to $22,000 on brand new F-150s, up to $8,000 on Edges and Broncos, up to $4,700 on brand new Escape.
Get a 2024 Bronco Sport for $209 bi-weekly, or a 2023 F-150 Super Crew for only $297 bi-weekly.
We have 17 previously owned SUVs, all for under $500 a month, like a 2020 all-wheel drive Escape, only $187 bi-weekly. Plus, we have a huge selection of used trucks. Get a 2021 F-150 Super Crew for only $258 bi-weekly.
Exclusive to City Ford. With every purchase, spin and win a barbecue, pressure washer, TV, pizza oven, or a trip to Vegas.
Bottom line is, at City Ford, prices have been slashed. payments cut in half. And with 3 licensed appraisers on duty, you'll get more for your trade. But it's only at City Ford on the St. Albert Trail.
Some people prefer pre-owned to saying used. Sherwood Honda will happily sell you a used vehicle. But first, it will be pre-Sherwood Honda certified with a 159-point pre-inspection. Then pre-stored to Sherwood Honda's high standards. Then they pre-guarantee the lowest finance rates and prevent problems with the 30-day exchange privilege. Pre-owned or used, Sherwood Honda actually has plenty of both in stock with a buying experience you sure would prefer.
Clear up some garage space and keep your tires in prime condition at Windermere Chrysler. We offer convenient, on-site seasonal tire storage that ensures your tires are safe, sound, and ready when you need them. With every service visit, enjoy a complimentary tire and wheel alignment analysis, plus a thorough car wash and vacuum. Trust Windermere Chrysler to maintain both your vehicle and your tires to impeccable condition. The choice is clear.
It's Windermere.
Visit windermeredodge.ca.
Wendy's Small Frosty is the ultimate summer refreshment. And not because it's cool and creamy and made with fresh Canadian dairy. It's also refreshingly cheap. Just 99 cents until July 14th. It's a treat for you and your wallet. Taxes extra at participating Wendy's.
What do they do with me?
Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Duncan Kruger with you here. Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, 1-833-401-1440. That is the text line. If you want to get in on the conversation as we wrap things up before we hand things over to Turn Sports, that'll run from 6 till 9. Nav and Russ. Then at 9 o'clock, we've got Fox Sports Radio before Kev, Brando, and tomorrow is Eddie Steele, longtime member of the Green and Gold. Join us for 7 o'clock a.m. It is the Kevin Carius Show. Tonight, we do have game 1 of the NBA Finals. Of course, that'll be one of the main area of focus for Turn Sports tonight. But Declan, you and I should probably talk about it just a little bit before we hand things over. Of course, the Dallas Mavericks in Boston taking on the Celtics. Game 1, Boston, totally healthy. Kristaps Porzingis going to get into the lineup for the Dallas Mavericks. Little bit of injuries. I guess the big one would be Luka Doncic. He's got the knee, the ankle. But he's had this the entire playoff run. He's been listed as probable, questionable to go in this, and then he puts up 30. So I think if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, you're probably pretty comfortable with Luka going into this one.
Yeah, he is listed as questionable every game. He, gives you a 35-point special with 3 of the most amazing shots I've ever seen. Right? Like, that's just kind of what he does. That's what we expect of him. The bigger question, I think, is Kristaps Porzingis. It doesn't look like there's going to be a minutes restriction, according to Joe Mazzulla, but he may not start the game. I think he's definitely not the best player in the series by a wide margin. He's not the best player on the Boston Celtics, but I think he has a unique ability and skill set which can prove to be the X factor or be an X factor in the series. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring to the table. Great game 1. Very, very excited. 2 great teams. Can't wait for it.
I think we talk about it with hockey and the Edmonton Oilers going into this series, like Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, maybe feeling some pressure to try to find a way to get that championship. When you look at the NBA, and obviously, maybe not direct comparisons, but 2 guys on the Celtics probably feel that pressure as well. Jason Tatum being the big one, Jaylen Brown.
Yes. Well, Jaylen Brown famously had an interview with Taylor Rooks. And I think he said, it was like 7 years ago or something. And I think he said by 2028 he would have 5 rings or something like that. So he's got to, or maybe by 2025, I don't know. So he's got to start winning some rings this year. But yes, if you're Jason Tatum, there is a narrative surrounding you that you have had these super teams right there on your back. You've had great coaching, and you still haven't been able to get it done. And they talk about making the Eastern Conference Finals every single year, and being a preseason pick to come out of the East. And then there always seems to be something that runs into them and something that's their kryptonite. They do have the one finals. It was a finals loss. So if you're Jason Tatum, the narrative is going to start to build that you cannot get it done. You're obviously very young. You still have a lot of tread left on the tires. You are a superstar in this league for all intents and purposes. But with this team formed around you, with who we think you are, it's time to win a championship. The path has never been easier for this Boston team to get there. Now they face their toughest test by a wide berth. I'm very excited to see how it plays out. But if you're Boston, man, it's that franchise as well. It's championship or bust every year for the most part. And with this team, it's definitely championship or bust.
Now, who's your X factor going into this one for each team?
X factor it's tough to say because I do think he's their third best player, but I think Drew Holiday defensively is the X factor for the Boston Celtics. He's not going to be a guy who's giving you 30 a night the way the Kyrie's, Lukas, maybe the Tatum's, Browns are, but he's a guy who's going to be needed to defend on the perimeter. Him and Derek White both are going to be able to need to defend Luka and Kyrie in those one-on-one ISO situations. So I would say Drew Holiday for Boston for me. Then for Dallas, I look at a guy like Derek Lively. I think Derek Lively is a guy who can be a towering presence. Is going to come off the bench and give you some great mojo, if you will, for that second unit. But I think he's a guy who can score the basketball, can defend at the rim. He's pretty easy to play with offensively because a lot of it is just lobs at the rims and stuff. Daniel Gafford has that too. And Daniel Gafford is probably a better player than Derek Lively, although I think Derek Lively is just better suited for his role as a guy who can be the number one guy on a second unit. And he's not going to see too much of that because Luke and Kyrie are going to be playing such heavy minutes. But when he's in, and if he does become a focal point of the offense down low in those pick and rolls, lobs to the rim, I think he's going to be X factor.
Now, just on the topic of basketball, Dan Hurley, coach at UConn, led them to back-to-back national championships. Apparently, the Los Angeles Lakers look to make a big offer to bring him in. Do you think the skill set, the ideology translates to the pro game?
I think the ideology probably translates to the pro game, but I don't know if it translates to the Los Angeles Lakers. Like if you have what he brings in, because we both know coaching in college and the pros is so different, right? One is the recruiting process is obviously so huge. We can start there, but another one is just your coaching these young kids into becoming men. I think for the most part, when you're coaching in the NBA, not only are you coaching grown men who have been the best player on their team as long as they've lived, now they're also getting $1 million paychecks every week. You know what I mean? And when you're a friend, like if he was coaching in Charlotte and you have a young team with LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, you can kind of have that type of coaching ability, that type of coaching. What's the word I'm looking for? That type of coaching, like a synonym for Stan. You can be that type of coach. I'll say that in a place like Charlotte. I don't think you can be it in LA where you're coaching LeBron James, where you're coaching Anthony Davis, and where everything is magnified under a magnifying glass to the 100th degree. And there's expectations. Like I just talked about it with Boston. There are expectations in LA that it's championship or bust every year. And that is a horrible situation to walk into for a coach. And that's why no one lasts in LA.
It's tough. And yeah, I mean, the spotlight's always going to be there. Tough to coach in LA, I think, in any sport, let alone the Lakers, the Showtime Lakers. Then you throw in LeBron. Never going to be easy. But hey, tonight it's about the Mavericks and the Celtics, game one of the NBA Finals. Of course, we got the Elks and the Rough Riders on Saturday. You can probably see if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or the Twitter stream, Instagram. Declan's a little bit dressed up. We're getting ready to head out to the dinner tonight. Gregor's down there already, so we'll be joining him. If you are heading over there, you see us, come say hello, chat it up just a little bit. A couple texts here before we wrap up on the show today. No name on this one, and it was meant for Jason, but I'll read it. Hey, Jason, Friday, Saturday, the high school provincial track and field championships take place at Foot Field. So you want to go watch some track and field? That's where it's going to be going on. And then Stanley says, Gregor, loved your interview with Fernando Pisani yesterday. I'm not Gregor, but I will comment. Yeah, it was awesome. Fernando gave us a little extra time, stuck around for over an hour in studio. If you missed that, go check it out at jasongregor.com. You can also find it on Apple, Google, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. Go give it a listen because it was really, really entertaining conversation between the two of them. And with that, that's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in today, text in. We do appreciate it. If you missed it, go check our podcast. Ryan Kennedy from the Hockey News, Ben Cricky, the Edmonton Stingers. Of course, we had TR in co-hosting from 3 to 5. Kevin Carius, Sports 1440. Pauline Livingston, Nick Kiprios, Spec. Go check it all. Available online wherever you get your podcast from. For Jason Gregor, I'm Connor Halley. Declan Kruger alongside with us for the ride. We will be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Up next, you got Turn Sports with Nav and Russ. Right now, though, let's get to a Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home with a no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Have a nice warm winter, a nice cool summer. Go to legacyheating.ca. Good night. Here is Declan Kruger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, the 2024 CFL season kicks off tonight. A Grey Cup rematch between Montreal and Winnipeg set to kick off in about 37 or so minutes here. Esks will make their season and home opener this Saturday, hosting the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And of course, the time has been changed to 2 p.m., not to conflict with the Oilers Stanley Cup playoff game. NBA Finals get going tonight. The Dallas Mavericks, who were, of course, the Western Conference champions in Boston, to take on the Celtics. Tip-off for that one also in about 37 minutes or so. Scores in the majors from earlier today. In case you missed it, it was the Blue Jays over the Orioles 6-5, Royals over the Guardians 4-3, and the Mariners blanking the Athletics 3-0. Games in action right now. The Dodgers and Pirates currently tied 4-4 in the top of the fourth. Braves and Nationals 0-0 in the top of the sixth. Twins tied with the Yankees 2-2 in the middle of the third. Cubs trailing the Reds 3-2 at the end of the third. And the only other game on right now is the Rockies and Cardinals tied 0-0 at the bottom of the first. WNBA scores in the Commissioner's Cup. The Mystics, who are currently winless on the season at 0-9, lead the Chicago Sky 44-35 at halftime. And the New York Liberty up early on the Atlanta Dream, that one at the end of the first quarter. The Memorial Tournament, Adam Hadwin currently the leader in that one. He is 6 under through one round. Other notable names, we'll see Scotty Scheffler at second, 5 under, and Xander Schauffele 4 under, tied for third with Canadian Corey Connors. That is going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Turn Sports is up next. On behalf of Connor Halley, I'm Declan Kruger. Fox Sports Radio at 9, Carius and Douglas tomorrow at 7 a.m. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440.